Yeah.
I don't have to worry
I get
about
to
shit on.
drive
Yeah,
around.
you know,
Yeah,
and
like
you're just like,
you even paying for gas on that thing?
no, and
Bro, I'm so jealous of you.
and you're just like, how ungrateful must I be that I would say like this doesn't meet Brodrick standards,
Yeah.
you know, and he's not like.
That's
how
mature of you, man. Did that kind of come about after the
theft.
Can I bring that up?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Before we get started, like, stories that involve me generally are on the table.
Yeah.
You know, I'll use my better discretion. We'll try to,
Yeah.
Since, not a lot of people are going to listen to these, like just to start. I think eventually maybe, but to start, we'll maybe get a tight 10. But
Yeah. It's a family.
yeah. So like, I'm gonna try to avoid cursing, but if a story comes up and it has to happen, let her fly. It'll be all right. So the car.
Yeah.
You ended up getting kind of bailed out there, right? Like that's all handled now.
Almost. So I got to call the DMV. It's such a weird scenario.
Yeah.
That like every person I come across is like, oh, I've never seen this before. Like it's so rare that the car got stolen so fast and so close to the date of purchase. I mean, like our titling lady's like, I've never seen this before. I'm not sure what to do. I need to find out.
Yeah.
I get her what she needs.
Yeah.
We're still waiting. I call the DMV. She's like, I have no idea. I've never seen this before.
I don't know what policy is.
Yeah,
on
like normally
procedure.
the car at least gets titled in the person's name before it happens, and so like we're just running into the issue before they can release the title to get the car then paid off. So it's like it will get done. It's just a matter of like when, and then am I doing my part to make sure it gets done as fast as possible.
Let's go back to how it started. So you were, and I don't do really intros on this. People who do it know, but I'll do a quick one. Brodrick Watson, former collegiate athlete.
Yeah.
4 different schools.
4 high schools, 4 colleges. We're a world traveler.
You're a warrior. Now your big thing that you're into, obviously, like you've got a lot to you, like you've got a lot of layers to what you're in. But one of the things that you've taken up after collegiate athletics, which is something we will talk about, is racing in cars, Brother Bear. So he had him a Corvette.
Yep.
That thing was gorgeous.
A beautiful one. I feel like I'll probably forever regret letting it go.
Think so?
I
was so excited about that.
I know, and I think the SS would have been great. I think part of me would have been like, oh, the SS is wonderful. That's a great car. I love it for sure. Man, I kind of wish I had just found a way to make the first love work.
Yeah.
Before I got to the second.
It's the first wife.
But but I think that one would have. I think the SS would have been good.
Yeah.
I think I would have been still just as happy. I still missed the car.
And remind me why you got rid of the Corvette. I know, but just for the 5 people who do listen, what made you get rid of the Corvette?
So I have a magical ability of taking a perfectly fine running and driving car and creating something that will work some days and not others.
Yeah.
And so it's a really cool, unique ability. Some of us car people have. And so, you take a wonderful car and you put money and time into it, and then it gets its finicky
12-pack and
and
put it in the garage.
Put it in the garage, and then after all that, it gets as finicky as like a 14-year-old teenager.
Yeah.
And it's the middle of the month, and they're not happy with the color shirt they're wearing.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, today's a good day or bad day.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
So yeah.
So was it the drive shaft? What was it? I forgot entirely what it actually was that ended up being the thing that made you like, I got to get rid of it.
Well, so I never really. That's the other thing.
You did so much to that too. Talk about what you did to it. I want to hear.
Yeah,
I want to hear about all of it.
So I got the car and it was completely stock minus a cold air intake, which if you know anything about cars, I mean that's like a 5-minute install for a 12-year-old. So like really, it's completely nothing's done to it.
Respect.
And we went from that to a car that basically had everything you could think of done to the engine, minus swapping the crank out. And then transmission-wise, in an automatic car, because, hey, manuals are fun, but autos win races.
Really?
Yeah. Manuals are fun, but in this day and age, you just got to have something. The computer just shifts too fast.
Oh, fair enough.
So, and then transmission-wise, go with a big stall, so that way the RPMs climb faster, and the RPM determines the power output of the engine. And so you dial in where the car makes peak power and where you want your RPMs to be, and then that's how you choose the stall so you can get there.
Sure.
And so we do that, and then you throw some sticky tires on the back. I did some, like, put a nice radio in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But performance-wise, that was what it was. For those that know a little bit deeper, it was, cam heads, intake, injectors, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
So.
gotcha. And then the what should we call it? The Achilles heel that did her in, the straw that broke the camel's back. What was it?
Well, I don't actually know, and that's part of what kills me. Is like the car just never ran what it was supposed to run. We went. I don't know where along the path it got messed up, but I have an idea, but I won't ever know for sure.
Yeah.
But it just never ended up operating the way it was supposed to at the speeds. And for most people, they would say, well, this is just plenty fast enough. And again, this comes down to like our conversation of just enjoying what you have.
Yeah.
And so for most people, it would have been plenty fast enough. And then when the day comes that you've put aside what you need to, you can figure out and take the next stab at what it might be. But when you're racing, every second counts. Think of a 100-meter sprinter. Half a second is a huge deal to them.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And so everything matters. And so when this car is half a second too slow for what it should be, you're
Makes
like,
a difference.
Yeah, you're just frustrated.
Yeah.
And so I think something ended up being wrong with the transmission around when it broke down. And so I think that's my guess is at one point the exhaust had melted a line through the transcooler, and so it leaked out everywhere.
Yeah.
And I noticed it. I feel like I noticed it pretty quickly, but maybe I didn't, and it got hot. And it might have cooked some.
I feel so bad asking this question because your expression changed. Like, you came in kind of like jolly and and now I ask it, it's like
what happened with
you
your
got
prodigy?
so sad.
Why is your prodigy a bust? And it's not here anymore. And
yeah, man, that's tough.
Where'd the money go from it?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
What was the top speed you got that thing to? Like if you had to guesstimate.
So in video games, not in a video game in Mexico, not in the U.S. Of course, would never do anything on a U.S. street.
Yeah.
But in Mexico, in a video game server, I got to 193 at one point.
Oh my god.
And that's basically the peak of what the gearing will do.
That is so
also the
fast.
peak length of the road, and you just get a new perspective on life at that speed.
Yeah, I know, because you drove me to a hockey game one time, and you picked me up in the car, which I was so excited about. I was like, "Oh, this is cool, man!" And then you're like, "Hey, does it feel like we're going 100?" I'm like, "No," and then all of a sudden, you just took it to like 150, and I'm like, "It feels like we're going 150, Brodrick.
Yep.
Please." I want to get home. Please. Good night. All right, and then you got the SS.
Yep. So
for a total of 48 hours?
I had it for 9 days. I had
9 days.
But I didn't drive it for the 9 days. And just a backstory, just on that car, just because if anybody listens and happens to wonder, the SS is not a Camaro. Chevy / Holden, which was their Australian factory. Near the end of Holden's life in Australia, they had a bunch of leftover parts, and so they said, what can we make? And so they basically made a 4-door Corvette.
Yeah.
And so it was called, the model is an SS, not the trim, but the model.
Yeah.
They only made about 12,000 and some change in the U.S. It looks like, if you look up the picture, it looks like a beefy Malibu. So it kind of blends in. You don't know what you're looking at unless you're a car person, or you kind of hear it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what the appeal was on it, too. It's big, it's comfortable.
You drew a lot of attention in that Corvette too.
Yeah, Corvette's a lot of attention.
Which I know there was a bunch of issues going on with the police and the racing community.
Yeah, police, racing community, a lot of attention. The car's low, so you can't drive it everywhere.
Yeah, and you're a big guy too. Like that's a tough squeeze. You're 6'5".
Yeah. Getting in and out was okay. Once you're in it, it's okay.
Yeah, it's comfy when you're in it.
Yeah, but you kind of know, you're like, okay, it's an experience every time you drive it.
Yeah.
What was nice about the SS is, it was an experience, but also it could just be your normal sedan if you ever
daily
asked
driver.
it to be. Yeah, your normal sedan. And so that was nice to have that variable. Be able to fit friends in it. I mean, basically the only time I took it out and did anything fun with it was I took Taylor and her friend, and we went to a comedy club. And I was like, oh, this is nice that there's a back seat.
Yeah, you get a little more room, a little more. But still you're getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah, still had the fun. It had the same engine that was in my Corvette, the LS3. So still a super fun car. Could make all the power you'd want to make at any point. And then this one was stock, and so when a car's stock, you just worry about less. You're not worried about what is that
tuning,
sound?
Like
oh my god, did I hear one lifter tick? Anything. So just an easier experience for the time. So
and then so you had it 9 days, and then
go to the gym.
Then day number 10 came around.
Yeah, so it was Friday. I really remember leaving. I remember the decision. I remember the decision, and I'm walking out of work, and it's late. I mean, it was like 7:45, 8, and I got off at 6, but, it's customer or whatever. And I see the SS, and it's parked right next to my company car. I'm very lucky to have one. And everything in me was like, take the company car. And I was like, what am I doing tonight? I was like, I'm not doing anything. And you know what? I'm just going to go to the gym, but I'm picking Taylor up. We're going to go. Why don't I just take the SS this one time?
Yeah.
And earlier in the day, I had wanted to get insurance for the car because I had just bought it and I was going to flip it over. And I called USA, who had my insurance on the vet, and they quoted me like $300 a month. And I was like, whoa, it's just way more than what I had expected.
Yeah.
And I started my vacation.
Yeah, on that farmer's life, man.
Yeah, I started my vacation the next day. So in my mind, I was like, hey, you know what? That's too much. I'm not gonna pay $300, but I'm off the next day. I'll call around. I'll find the lowest rate.
Yeah.
I'll be good to go. I'm just taking it out this one night. It'll be perfectly
off the
fine.
lot. Yeah.
And hey, we're going to do arms. It's gonna be like a 40-minute workout. We'll be good. and I literally drive. I remember parking it. I remember clicking the keys and being like, okay, well, we'll be right back. And it was funny. Taylor walks back to the car. She's like, oh, I think I forgot something in it. We walk back to the car. She grabs her bag out of it, her lifting bag out of it. And I lock it back. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Come out from the gym. Literally, it was about 40, 45 minutes after we had got in. And I'm like, I thought I remember being in this row. I thought I remember being in this parking lot. It's actually not here.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing, too, is earlier in the morning, my roommate at the time, I don't live with him anymore, but my roommate at the time, he's also a racer. That's how we had met. And he's got a CTSV, a Gen 2, for those that know. And his buddy had his car stolen. And a lot of cars are getting stolen right now. This is a popular thing, I guess. Yeah. But he had his car stolen.
I've known a couple people in Greeley. That was a big thing for a while.
I mean, well, just right now, car thefts across the U.S. is skyrocketing.
Yeah.
I say we should lynch the people that do it. But feel free to leave that in there.
That's a tough. No. You keep it in, but
feel free to leave that in there.
That is a tough
I will stand behind that. Here's the thing. Quick side note.
Go ahead.
I can justify with somebody who walks in a grocery store and steals a can of food to eat. Yeah. I can somewhat justify with somebody who, does something really small. I'm trying to think of examples, but just something really small. They steal a candy bar. It's not right. It's not right. But I can somewhat rationalize. There's not an example in world history where stealing a car is an acceptable maneuver.
Really?
So it's just not in any scenario is that the logical thing to do that I can rationalize is to steal somebody's car.
What about a guy who's got a pregnant wife and their car's broke down and they need to get to a hospital, Brodrick?
Yeah.
And all they see, and this guy just so happens to know how to hot wire an SS.
You're right. Maybe
I'm playing.
No, you're right. Maybe you
you're
got me
so
beat.
wrong.
I'll tell you what. Could you at least leave the license plate on so they can find the car then?
Yeah.
Because that's part of the problem too.
Up, man.
But yeah. So his car had gotten stolen. My roommate's friends, and so we had seen so many, and we literally text each other like, this is like maybe 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need to get some security systems, and so I call my guys at Lux Racing who do some of the work that I don't feel like doing. And I'm like, hey guys, could you guys do like a security system on this? Like, I just want to be protected.
Yeah. And
they're like, yeah, man, just bring it in on Monday. We got you. Like, we'll figure something out. I'm like, all right, cool, man, feeling good. So I mean, it was literally it was the only way it could have gone, I guess.
Yeah, that was the worst possible situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so tough, man. Do you think, I mean, granted, because you did get some, like you're kind of wrapping it up on the whole situation, getting your money back on the car, figuring it all out. And I know some stuff's come up and you don't have to share none of that. But are you wanting to get back into racing afterward?
Gosh, I do. I think it's
but is it like feasible? I know you want to, but is it like feasible?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should always find a way to try and make your passion feasible. I've always been a car guy. It's always been what I love. I mean, when I was 8, I started pointing out models just driving down the road. I was like, oh, that's a Chevy Equinox. That's a like literally just my mom would be like, shut up, please stop.
Lay off.
I don't need this. We're driving 8 hours to Houston. Please be quiet. It's always just been something there. So I think I definitely do. I'm still on the race team I'm on. So I think it's hard watching from the sidelines. Yeah. It's like you're the injured player.
Oh yeah.
For something out of your control, and so I think it's there. But I don't know if it clicked when I was 25, and it's like my frontal lobe is fully developed. And I'm like, but I also look back and I'm like, oh my God, I made the X amount of dollars and I spent X amount of dollars on this hobby. Yeah. Was that the best return on my investment?
Well, the answer is no, but you don't invest in your hobby.
No, and should I have done it? Yes. Should I have done it in a different way? Yes. And so it's like, okay, well, maybe now we know the right route.
Yeah.
So I think the day will come. I'm hoping maybe around January, I'll be in the spot where I could say, let's open the ideas. But yeah, I mean,
just see what happens. I get you 100%. That was I kind of call it. You get done with athletics because you finished up in 21, correct? Was that your last year, 21? Because I know with 22 you were working because I was finishing up my.
You're right. Yeah. December 21. Yeah. That 21 fall season was last season.
Yeah. So you get done with that, and this is how I was. This is how most people I know were. But you get done with sports, specifically football, like that was your life. You're giving 60, 70 hours a week to that. Yeah. You're meeting twice as much as you're playing and working out and all that. But
consumes you.
Yeah. So you get done with it and you go work a job. Now I know you have a pretty time-consuming job, right? I work only 45 hours a week, but that's still 5 over, and you're working like 60. But you still are like, I need something to do. Because all your time now is spent it feels like you have so much more because it's not as spread out. Yeah. So you have what I call an athletic midlife crisis. You're done with it. Sure. You're done with athletics, but you're like, what happens when you have a midlife crisis? You dye your hair.
I got to do
dye your hair out of gray. Yeah. Buy a Harley, all that.
Yep.
You just went the racing route. Mine was hunting and some other stuff, and and you also took up shooting for a little bit too.
Yeah, and I'm still looking to get back in that. That's the other thing. It's like
let's go shoot some skeet, man.
Yeah,
me and Grant will go. He's a shot now.
I was looking at a video today. Somebody had a P90, and I was like, I was looking in the comments, and I don't know how to phrase. That's my favorite gun, but like
that's a cool gun.
Yeah,
dude, you can talk about guns on
this.
That's I've got like 6 in the other room. Yeah. What are you talking about?
That's the gun I remember on Modern Warfare and using it. So
to the ATF that's tapping this, I've only got 3 in the other room.
You're right. Yes. Misspoke there. Numbers. But yeah, and so I was like, oh, that's always such a cool gun, and I'm like, oh, that's $1,300.
Yeah, expensive.
When I had to buy the cam kit alone, it was $2,000.
Yeah.
And this one, if I sell it, I actually get a lot of my money back versus if I don't, So I'm like, okay,
guns are investments. Firearms are straight up investments as long as you take care of them.
So I'm like, okay, here's a decent investment. I didn't tell you, but I got a friend that might sell me his pistol next month for a pretty good deal. So I'm like, okay, that's something I enjoy. That's something I'm like would be good to also outlet in and maybe have a little bit more reasonable return, especially in the short run. I can put less into it.
You need to look up archery, bro.
Yeah, I believe
you will get obsessed.
I was watching the archery video.
You will get
yesterday.
obsessed, dude. That's the one thing I got into also. And I'm not great, but I bought I had originally bought a bear bow, which is all jokes aside, but it's like a bare bones bow, right? Like it's
like true,
like really.
Pull it back,
it's kind of cheap. Like it's not a great thing, but it's a good beginner bow.
Yeah.
And the string popped off on me, which is kind of a no-no on like. So there with archery, there's your typical like what you picture the Native Americans using, because it's called a longbow or the Vikings or whatever, and it's just wooden string, right? But the string is made out of animal tendons. Yeah. With the other option is a mechanical bow, or called a compound bow, and that's what I had. And if your string's popping off in your compound bow, that's a big no-no, right? So
what causes that?
A bunch of different things, just how it was kind of, if the string isn't waxed enough, or if it's maybe wasn't made properly, wasn't tuned up properly. Sure. And Bear used to be a pretty decent name in the bow industry, and it's just gotten so technical and advanced. And Bear's kind of like had a lapse in quality. And so my string popped off, but I ordered it off of Amazon. Sure. And so I was able to return it within 30 days, which was awesome. Yeah.
Love Amazon.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks, Bezos.
Thanks, Bezos.
I'm just joking.
But I went to Shields, and I got I didn't know they had a pre-owned section, right? Oh, nice. Which sounds really weird because
is it bow specifically pre-owned?
Bow specific pre-owned. Oh, nice. Yeah, they do that with firearms too, but it has to pass all these tests to be on the floor, so it's still a good bow. And I'm a lefty, which is weird. I'm a right-handed and everything else because my eyes are messed up, and this is my good eye.
Yeah, I know. I know that. Yeah.
So I'm a lefty shooter. So I ended up getting last year's bow, which was I think I got last year's bow in Hoyt, which is like the number 2 name in archery, and it was in my size and a lefty, and I got it for like $700.
What a deal!
So it was a way better deal.
Gotta love a deal.
Yeah, man. And I've had a blast with that thing. And the nice thing about that, as opposed to guns, because nobody loves guns more than I do. Actually, there's one person who probably loves guns more than I do. His name's Blake Briscoe, and the reason I know this is shout out Blake. He's a former Army guy. He was actually who I sold guns with when I was behind the Murdoch's counter.
Yeah, I remember that.
And but he's a former Army guy, and he moved down to Texas from Colorado, and I had to help his wife and his daughter, move out the house because he was buying the house down there.
Oh, gotcha.
And I had to move his safe. His safe.
Dude, like a floor safe, basically?
Like a giant ass safe, dude. Like this thing we had to unload it first, and there were 4 football guys. It was heavy as hell. And it was one of those big Liberty ones, I think. Yeah. And I think it had upwards of like 60 firearms.
Ooh, goddamn, what, full armory.
Dude, no.
That's
that was,
Kingsman.
I used to think I was yeah, dude, he could load. He had his own loadouts, man. Like the Call of Duty loadouts.
That's crazy.
Dude, he had some stuff.
IRL gets crazy.
There was one time there was one point when I was helping him move that I was like, oh, is that the new one? And his wife said, what new one? And I'm like, Blake, I'm sorry, buddy.
Set him up. Set him up. The classic betrayal.
But no, but nobody loves guns more than I do, except for Blake. But at the end of the day, you can reuse the ammunition on when you're for archery. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So there's your new obsession if you want to get into it. But yeah.
Are you shooting only like deer with that, or is it possible to hit a bird? Is the speed enough to hit a bird, or would you just shoot deer?
Oh no, people hunt turkey with it. With them, yeah, you got to be really good shot, which I am not.
To hit a turkey,
because turkey is one of the most elusive hunts. So if you know how elk hunting works, you're familiar with that. So you spot and stalk, and you call them and all that, and you wait for the call back, and you got to circle around, downwind, figure it all out. Yeah. Turkey hunting is just mini elk hunting because they're the same way. You got to have your call. You got to, and it's not something I have a lot of experience in, but there's some warriors out there who hunt turkey with bows, and it's impressive. Now you can absolutely if you can hit it, you can kill it with a bow. People hunt bears with bows.
I guess you're right. Sure.
But it's just is it wise? Because most people hunt birds with shotguns. Most people do.
Buckshot,
buckshot's more for bucks. But,
for bird shot.
You're good. You're good. Bird shot is you're new
to
expert,
it. But
you're new to it. I'm excited to get you hunting one of these days.
I need to.
It's going to be fun. So this thing can, this whole setup we got can go wireless. So we're planning on doing a couple from the duck blind.
Oh, nice.
Which will be really fun. And you can, if you want to come join. No, we're just sitting there and, between shots, we'll be having coffee and just shooting the breeze. But
no, for sure. I definitely need to do that.
Yeah, come on, man. We'd love to have you hunting, honestly.
I need to. That's the only thing that kills me is I'm like, I guess, you mentioned the football. You're you're used to committing so much time. Mm-hmm. But in college, your focus is it sounds crazy because it's much wider than high school. But your focus is still so much more narrow than it is when you get out in the real world.
Yeah.
At least in college, it's school, the sport I'm playing, depending on the type of person you are, am I talking to girls?
Females.
Yeah. Like, am I talking to girls?
It's hardly ever the type of person.
Yeah,
it's almost always female.
Yeah. And you know, have I called my mom this week to see how she's doing?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like those are really my biggest concerns. Maybe you're in a unique club or something, but like that's it. When you get out,
hobbies.
When you get out in the real world, it's like, okay, I clock out of my job. Everybody scatters like ants, you know, like or roaches when the light comes on. And where do you go?
Yeah.
You know, do I just go to my house? Am I become a gym freak? Do I become a hunter? Do I become a car guy? Am I into LARPing? Like, what do you know? What do I do?
Whatever it is,
you know,
I heard somebody the other day say, you know, the reason there's so much, well, this is one of the many reasons that contributes to all the mental disorders everybody's claiming in our generation. Besides people like, you know, just being a little softer skinned than we used to be, sure. Is there's not a third place anymore. So used to you had at home, you had a job, and you had a third place you belonged to, whether that was involvement with your church, a little you know, community, just something right? Yeah. Nowadays, social media is kind of taking place of that, and it's just turning it into one giant comparison.
Yeah.
And comparison's the thief of all joy.
Oh,
you know, if I compare my finances to yours, or what car I'm driving to yours, or whatever it is, like we're, you know, like eventually we're gonna find something where it's
somebody's
like
above.
Somebody's above, and that you can't be that way. We always felt that way with football too. You know, like whenever we were getting recruited, this guy's getting an offer from Tech, this guy's getting an offer from Clemson.
I know this
FCS.
guy's not training better. I know this guy's not a better player.
But they saw something in him that they didn't see in me, and so I'm comparing myself and feeling bad. So I tell everybody who gets done, because I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of athletes now who just are moving out, you know, and some people, especially at like schools like a UNC where they weren't winning a lot of games, and, you know, ended their last season was pretty poor, you know, in terms of record.
Yeah.
It's kind of abysmal. Like you're just like, dude, what do I do now? Like on one hand, I'm grateful to not be on a losing team anymore, but on the other hand, like, what am I going to do with my life? You know? So it's so difficult, and I think you need to just don't narrow yourself down to one thing. Like, go find a bunch of hobbies, man, and then Hope gets mad at me because I have like 8 hobbies going on at once. So I don't dedicate enough time to any one of them to get particularly fantastic. But she's like, "Is this just a new hobby for you?" I was like, "Yeah, no, it is." And I still have like 4 more on the back burner I want to take up. Like, I want to do kickboxing, man. I want to go do some like martial arts.
I had a friend that worked with me, and he's with Fidelity now, and that's something I'm also considering. But he's got more free time, and he's like, he's like, he's like, yeah. Now I'm doing mixed martial arts. I'm training jiu-jitsu. I'm like,
how do you have this time?
First of all, I'm like, how do you have the time? Second of all, I'm like, I know you. That's not you. Like, when he kid, I'm like, okay, well, all right, I guess. You know, like, you know, I'm like, hey, just so you know, though, don't try that on me. It won't work the way you think. But
they're weight classes for a reason.
But shout out to Bradley Martin, I guess. But for inside joke, if you know. But so there's so many things that call, and you're right. Yeah, I mean, people don't have that third group, the social media filling that third group. I was listening. He's a monk. I don't remember his name. But he's like, you know, incomparable things are different, and it's always weird to try and draw back so far. But he's like, you know, do you think in the Stone Ages people were depressed? He's like, do you think people were depressed when they're doing this back in this time? He's like, no, people were just too busy. They were just doing things with their body, trying to become the best, trying to be a part of this, versus now you just have the idle time that's filled with 10-second videos of cats.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, cars, you know, and whatever the newest trend is for somebody to get attention, you know, dig deeper into that.
100%. Like and we're so quick to overdiagnose. And then our forms of treatment are poor.
Pill for everything,
and it's wrong. Like, and I know that a lot of it is, you know, just, you know, corruption and big pharma and all this. But like, I'm not in any way suggesting that depression isn't real. It's real. Anxiety is real. All of this stuff is real. But the way you should go about it, I think there are far better ways. Like, I think the first line of defense when it comes to mental health needs to be go get sunshine. Spend some time like doing difficult stuff physically, right? Go work out, go take a class, you know, something like that. prioritize some good food, drink some water, and get some good sleep. Like if you do that for 3 weeks,
pillars.
Exactly. Yeah. You do that for 3 weeks, I guarantee you, like consistently, right? Not just one off, whatever. But if you can find 3 weeks to do that in a row, you will come out on the other side of it. You'll still be stressed. You'll still have stuff you got to deal with because that's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're going to feel a lot better about it than you did before.
Yeah, and I'll add a sixth one to that. And of course, you'll be like, of course, yes, absolutely.
Go ahead.
But find faith.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be. Hey, listen, I'm Christian. Obviously, if you know Brooks is. I don't want to say a better Christian than me, but he guides me. He really does.
Appreciate that.
But find faith in something. I wouldn't. Again, I'm not forcing anybody who listens to this to have to do that. But I would just say faith in whatever, even if it's just a faith of like, hey, there's something up there. It's got some idea of what's going for me, and then hey, here's a faith that it gave me an opportunity. Let me make the most of it. Yeah. So if you want to go deeper, hey, find your nearest church, please. It'll be a great opportunity.
Yeah. At very least, you meet some people who are in a similar situation you are.
Yeah, absolutely. But at a foundational level, just find something to believe in. There's a saying that there's no atheists in the foxhole, right?
Agreed.
And so just whatever it is, find something that grounds you.
Yeah.
Even if you just, hey, I want to write my mission statement. Just, in life, there's waves and you just get pushed in every direction. I don't know if anybody's ever, I forgot the name of it, but when you're in the ocean and all the waves like hit you from the different directions and it can cause you to drown. Almost. Yeah, like a whirlpool. Yeah. I think there's another word for it. But life is like that. That's its job. And because without that, you can't grow. Yeah. But if you don't have some type of grounding to stand on, it's easy to sink. And so, if somebody was in a pool and they were quote unquote drowning, right, and they were falling and sinking down, what you would tell them is, hey, when you hit that ground, you kick up as hard as you can. And
Absolutely.
So, part of that 5 of the kick up would be, okay, do these 5 things and also try to find just a faith in something. Yeah.
I could not agree more. And find community too. Like we were not meant to do this life alone.
No.
And try that one. That one's good.
This one a little bit.
Yeah. And, I think especially Christianity I think that we are represented. God is represented poorly by us.
Oh,
we represent 100%. Him so poorly. Like
100%.
Like, most modern day Christians or churches would share, God hates this and that and this and that. And he does hate sin, but he loves us more than he hates sin. And so he's going to forgive. And he did so before. He doesn't, it's not fire and brimstone. We're drinking whiskey, we're Christians. We're not meant to be out here just being, the world is sunshines and rainbows so long as you follow God. No, life is hard. No. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but us least of all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So find community and understand, we weren't meant to do this life alone. No. And if you're doing it alone, you're doing it wrong because you're going to only either hide yourself from the blessings that God has for you and hide yourself from, if you're successfully managing to do life alone, I applaud you because
you're a different
coming.
Individual. Yeah.
Well, it's coming.
You're literally a monk, actually.
Yeah.
Would be probably the closest.
I mean, fair. They don't have as much.
Yeah, I was going to say, but I guess there's multiple monks, though. You're not the only monk. Yeah, even then, there's a community. You have nothing else, but there's still all of you guys, on the mountaintop. I'm assuming.
You're just out there hermit. You're a hermit in the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You're probably not hearing this anyway.
Yeah, this is not for you. Keep going on.
No, but I like what you said though, because I think faith is so important in committing yourself to something that's bigger than you. Because how depressing of a life is that if all of this is an accident? If all of this was an accident, it's like, hey, look, all you do is
how do you enjoy the good?
Exactly.
If it's an accident, what do you? Oh, you won the lottery. They just stand there with your hands, oh, okay,
cool, good for me. Yeah, whatever. How awful is it to and how scary is that? At the end of because everybody dies. Yeah, there's not one person who hadn't died.
Curtains closed for everybody.
There's 2 people that were raptured in the Bible, and they're coming back. But there's no one that hasn't died.
Yeah.
So knowing hey, at the end of this all. Believing that there's nothing afterward, that's a terrifying thing,
That it was all for what?
Because if this is as good as it gets, man, it's pretty rough down here.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully there's a greener pasture. Obviously you water where you're at. But, no, you're totally right. And I think that's something that, the distractions are so strong these days.
Oh, yeah.
And the influence that you get from outside things. Lately, that's probably the biggest adjustment I've made as I've tried to understand things. It's I'm really gonna narrow down my influence.
Yeah,
because that's the one thing I can control a lot of. I can't control, I do sales. I can't control if this person buys a car. I can't control if this person does X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
but I can control, like, am I watching this news, that news? Am I listening to this story, that story? And so everything that I try to watch is aimed to what I believe is where God would want me to go.
Yeah.
So, I go to church. I
need to be better about that.
Yeah. I go to church. I watch my service as well. Shout out to APOC Ministry.
Very nice.
If you guys haven't heard of him, basically Eric the hip hop rapper,
cool.
or the hip hop preacher.
Yeah.
A lot of people have seen his motivational speeches, but he's also an ordained minister, and so he has some great sermons. So if you haven't, feel free to check it out. But just going to a church and doing all that, but also like the influence that the people closest to you. Mm-hmm. I've never met David Goggins, but now I've read both of his books. Mm-hmm. Anytime I see a motivational video from him or just a video of him talking, I put it not because he's on some magical pedestal, but because the mindset that he implores daily is the influence that I want. Yeah. Same thing with a guy like Jocko Willenick. I do sales, so I'm watching a guy like Andy Elliott. Yep. And I'm just the influences that have come in. When I see a video on Instagram and it's like the newest, I'll keep it PG, butt shaking trend.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
by the way, like you say ass.
I'm like, don't like if there's an option to not recommend. Like I'm like it just
not
never.
Interested,
it rarely comes to my feed now because your feed algorithm is aimed to what you like, which can be a good thing if you do it right.
Yeah.
But like that's the biggest thing. I mean, like if it's not about bettering myself, if it's not about God, bettering myself, or cars, basically it doesn't come on my feed in the gym. And for me, it's like, oh my God, social media. You start to see what could be the good thing of social media. Yeah.
Rather than what it is right
now. Yeah, rather than what it is. I mean,
it's just trap set, man.
And it was supposed to be, hey, oh my God, let's connect people that never would have talked. That's a great thing. Yep. Let's connect people from different walks of life with different opinions. Great thing. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be all this, and then it got mixed up in the inevitability that hey, some people are going to try to manipulate this and make it something that they can profit from, which is the world we live in. So
and it's just, I mean, the enemy gets a hold of everything and corrupts anything that was intended to be good. That's just his nature. Yeah. So I'm getting a little counseling from a guy. His name's Colton at the Village, and one of the things he said is leading up to my marriage, or getting married, is you may want to cut out, Instagram, Snapchat, all that all together. And I'm like, I'll tell you the truth. I don't even, I don't see a lot of bad stuff on there. Yeah. But it is so ironic because he said, well, hey, look, it still knows you're a 25-year-old man.
Yeah.
So,
that's
real.
Look,
dude, just real. Being
to the FBI agent listening, stop doing it.
Yeah, dude, because that's so ironic because he said it and all of a sudden I'm getting stuff like you were talking about.
25-year-old most common.
And I'm like, cool, well, I'm just going to have to take a little step back from this because it's it's just only setting traps for me. My eyes are only on Hope, my wife to be, but it's so easy to get sidetracked.
God, I mean, I gotta be honest. The devil must look at social media when that came out, he must have been like, "Oh my goodness, this is it! This is how
man, I got something for this."
If you've ever seen Uncut Gems, it's this is how I win. Oh my God, I get my new favorite tool. Because it's so manipulated and it's so twisted to distract.
Oh my gosh,
distort.
And it hits people so differently too. On one hand, it hits us hey, throwing stumbling stones. On the other hand, it hits a lot of women of let me compare my body to this person who's had
100%.
4 different plastic surgeries and is claiming all you need to do is this workout.
You're not having enough berries in your diet.
Oh what? My gosh, dude, it's so bad because it's essentially, in a lot of ways, it's modern day Playboy magazines, right? Modern day Playboys, and on top of that, it is the Vogue, the old school Vogue, where it's starve yourself, And then now it's gone into the debauchery of you have to accept everybody for everything, which is not true. No, I hate that so much. It makes me so mad, this idea that hey man, I'm 400 pounds, but I'm healthy. It's no, you're not. No, you're not.
No,
You're not healthy.
No.
I don't care how good you look at 400 pounds.
No.
You are not healthy. That's just the reality of it.
Coping. You know? Stop. Let's start
This
a
whole
trend.
body positivity movement.
Let's start a trend to stop coping.
Yeah.
Understand where you're at. Okay.
Face your problems.
Yeah. I am not where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's everybody else.
Yeah, guess what the good news of that is I've got somewhere to go and somewhere to grow. You know, like we don't have to hide behind this. Well, this is as good as it's going to get. Like, no. You can actually change your circumstance. Mm-hmm. You can actually do this. And it just makes it that much sweeter when you get to that point when you can, because you're going to look back and be like, look what I overcame. And it's not, and then at that moment, it's not cocky. What it is 100% confidence. Yeah. And it's 100%.
Because I got there. And God was with me.
Yeah, 100% gratefulness. Yeah. You know?
Absolutely. All right. I want to take a turn. I want to talk about football. So I think I shared this with you briefly, but one of the things I want to do with this, aside from just introduce awesome people, and you're somebody who I view as an awesome person. Okay. Nah, shut up. You poured so much into me, and you're one of my dear friends and one of my favorite teammates I've ever had. Yep. But I want to, one of the things I want to do also is talk about, we didn't make it to the pros.
No.
I'd love to say we did, but we had, we didn't, or at least not yet. I know, you know. So, but I want to talk about, there are a lot of people who get done with football and they just feel like a piece of them died. It's like a divorce, It really is, because you gave so much time and energy and effort to something that just it fell through. So, I want to talk about your career, and I want to just go through a few questions with you and see kind of what if maybe it'll resonate with somebody who's kind of gone,
I hope. Please be better. Please be better. I hope.
Yeah. All right. So you got into football, I'm guessing at a young age. You're a Texas football player like me. We all got into it just when we were
How young
diapers.
Do you think?
I would guess you were. If you're like me, you got into flag football first, and then tackle football after around like fourth grade. Or fifth grade? When did you get in?
I never wanted to play football ever. That was never. I never. And if my mom was sitting right here and my dad was sitting right, they would laugh because they know the story that's coming. Yeah. I never wanted to play football ever. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be like Mike, you want to be a basketball I want to be like Mike. Yeah. Now these kids want to be like LeBron and stuff, but
which is wrong. Michael Jordan's the best.
Yeah. Shout out MJ.
Shout out MJ. He will not listen to this. But he will not. Michael Jordan.
Somehow this comes across
MJ's ever page. You somehow see this, which is there's a snowball's chance in hell.
Yeah.
If you want to be on,
let us know, please. I'll make a special guest appearance.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. I wanted to play basketball, and what people think, well, I didn't really have a quote unquote football family. My dad and my brother were football, and my uncle on that side, but the rest of my family was actually swimmers.
Oh, interesting.
So my mom swam in college. My uncle, who did play basketball in college at SMU, but he was a swimmer until his last year of high school. I could be slightly wrong, but he swam for a long time. Yeah, and they were swimmers. Yeah. And all my aunts and that stuff, they were all swimmers. And so, I knew I didn't want to swim. Yeah. I knew that wasn't for me. But I wanted to play basketball, and that was what consumed me when I was younger. And I'd read the Michael Jordan books whenever we go to the library and stuff. Absolutely. And so my dad came to me in fourth grade and was like, hey, it's time to play football. And my brother had played flag and done the normal Texas kid route.
Get in early.
Yeah.
Which is good. I'm trying to convince Hope when we have kids. You got to get them in early because it's early enough that they're not going to hurt themselves.
Yeah, perfectly good.
Keep going though.
And my dad came and was like, all right, it's time to play tackle football. You're in fourth grade. And I told him, I said, look, if you make me go out there, I'm going to go through practice just fine. But on the first game, I will turn around and run backwards screaming. And I will embarrass you and me. And I promise you, I put that on the Bible. If my parents were sitting right here, they will laugh because they know it's true. I'm touching the Bible. Y'all can't see it, but I'll put it on the Bible. They know for a fact that this is true. And so I told them that. I told them exactly that. And I started football, and it did not go well. It did not go well at all. I used to be a little chubby as a kid, and I wasn't that fast. I was I didn't even want to play it, so that obviously didn't help.
Yeah, the desire wasn't there.
Yeah, and I remember getting just destroyed in Oklahoma drills, and this is back when you could do that. Nowadays, kids are
dude, we had Bull in the Ring.
Yeah,
Oklahoma.
You can't do.
We
that
had the
anymore.
one where you lie on your back.
Yeah,
have to get up off the ground, and there's always that kid that got up faster.
Yeah, somehow he just teleported to the ground. And you're like, all right, yeah, just head start me.
A lot of basketball players came from that drill.
A lot of basketball players. I wanted to be,
yeah.
And I remember getting just ran over, and I was crying after every practice. I didn't know this, but my mom, Coach Cloud, or Floyd, either one, he was our coach of the LFA Longhorns. If anybody knows about that, shout out. Louisville Football Association. And he came to my mom and was like, hey, just keep bringing him. There's a Watson inside somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere in there. And my brother had clicked. Like, he was a born go get it. My brother to this day does not feel pain like most people. I don't know if it's just like a neurological difference. Like, you could break his arm and he'd be like, oh, it's broken. It's just something weird. Like, he disconnected. And so he was just naturally good.
Your brother's name again?
Derek,
if you listen to this, I'd whoop your ass in Oklahoma. Line it up. I will run a hole through your Chittenden play.
It'd be interesting. I think it'd be interesting because I think at any point he'd be willing to take somebody on.
Man. I know he's wild.
But what's it called? And so she's like, there's a Watson in there. And so I just kept coming back. And I remember there was a day I got ran over. I'm sorry, this is a long tangent, but
no, dude, this is what it's for.
There was a day I got ran over, and it was one of those clean truck sticks. You could have put it on YouTube, nowadays if you were watching.
Yeah.
And we were doing Oklahoma drill. And I just remember being like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And the time froze, and I was like, F this. And so I literally got up, and I was like, and I cussed. It was probably the first time I ever cussed.
Yeah.
I said, get your ass on the line. We're doing this again.
We're going again.
And everybody had been used to me getting destroyed. And I'm like, everybody, oh.
He's pissed.
Yeah, and he was like, nah. And the coach was like, oh, you scared now? Like, oh. Mm-hmm. And I wish I could have been a fly on the wall to see what they were thinking. And came off the next play, and I smoked him. I mean, I knocked him out of everything in him. I put all of little Brodrick Watson, 10-year-old into him, and knocked him out of his shoes. And I remember getting up, and everybody was smacking my helmet, and they were so hype.
Yeah.
And I pushed everybody away, and I threw up right on the ground. Not like a complete vomit. I mean, it was literally complete vomit.
Yeah.
And I remember standing over it and being like, and I was a nice kid. And I was like, Coach Cloud, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw up.
Yeah.
And he was like, now we can start playing.
There you go.
And from then on,
it's your Mr. Miyagi moment.
Yeah. From then on, it started to take off bit by bit and grew into what it was. And then kind of hit like a divot in high school, and then same sort of thing, got to my basically really. I mean, it really kind of changed over my senior year, and
we beat y'all senior year.
They did beat us. It was a game. I look back.
That's honestly my favorite high school game ever was because we came back. We
were up at halftime. We thought it was over, and they
came back. I had like a 14 tackle, 1 sack game,
and I did not have a good game. I did not actually. I actually didn't.
Dude, it was in the game plan the whole time. Just double team 23.
Yeah, I did not have a good game, and I just remember. We were like, God, and then I do remember you in the handshake line. I was like, oh, this is another big kid, and you had hit me. I think maybe on like a goal line formation or something.
Yeah, I was in we called it special tandem, which is where we had a defensive tackle and me line up at fullback.
Yeah,
coming in. Yeah, no, I remember.
Yeah, and so
you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I hit Brooks, and I'm like, okay, where's my follow-up help? And it never came. And linebacker did not fill. No offense, Landry. It's okay.
No offense, Landry.
But and so that was the high school career.
Yeah. They did end up winning the state championship that year. Made us mad. We got in playoffs. Our quarterback broke his back, and he was our entire offense.
We did,
and that was one of those games. Like, we played Bishop Dunn.
Mm-hmm. Who made it to state.
But we
in the playoffs,
Yeah, we beat them pretty handily that first time around.
Yep.
Go play Nolan, and then we're second in the district, we finish up second in district.
Yep, feeling strong.
And somehow or another, we had to play them again.
Yep.
So we got Bishop done, Nolan Bishop done.
Yep.
And Nolan is like, they weren't making playoffs, but they were like, they're like the Kansas State.
Yeah, they just wanted to ruin it for everybody.
Yeah, it's just like, look, we're just, no matter what, it's going to hurt playing them. But anyway, so you get done with high school. Y'all won the championship. You and I were getting recruited by some of the similar schools.
Yeah,
it was
similar
ACU.
FCS level.
Yeah, obviously UNC. We went on an official visit together.
Yes, we did.
That was a lot of fun for one of us.
Pause real quick. Can we pause this real quick?
Yeah. Okay, we're back. Bathrooms have been used.
Yes.
Phone calls have been made. We're all good.
Yep.
We went on an official visit together. We met.
I did not like this guy on the visit.
I was such a prude.
I was such a prude. I'm gonna put that out there.
You liked me at the end of it though, when I was having to carry you out the basement.
I did appreciate him for that, but I did not like this guy. I love Brooks now. It's so funny.
That's so fair.
I did not.
Yeah. Why didn't you like me? Was it because I was a prude? Was it because I was just kind of I had so little life experience when we first met that I was just out here wide-eyed, ready to go play ball, and that was all even then.
Well, what's so funny to me is it was because I thought, notice the key word thought, I thought I had so much life experience, and I had more than probably your normal 18-year-old.
Yeah.
But I thought I had so much life experience, and I was like, I don't like this guy. He's too happy. He's too overjoyed. Like, dude, I'm here to ball and get to the next level.
Yeah.
And this school's beneath me, and like I transferred 4 times. So once I ball here, I'm leaving for Alabama. Like I was like, yo, screw these guys. Like they're not really, And then there was some great people that we also became friends with on the trip, like Jeremy and Jason. And so I just naturally was like, oh, these lean that way. Yeah. And I remember
he also didn't like me because I was white.
Yeah,
that was a big part of it.
For those of y'all wondering, I'm half.
4 people he just named were all black. Right,
I'm half. I'm half, and so is Jason.
I'm
but
totally
I know.
Yeah.
Jeremy. What's it called? I remember we were on the bus riding around, and he was like, if we both go here, we should be roommates. And I was like, yeah. And in my mind, I was like,
absolutely
hey,
not.
No way.
I ended up rooming with Sterling, which was
oh my god,
bro. Sterling was such a soft.
Well, didn't you? I feel like Sterling ended up with Trey. Did you end up switching?
No, he didn't end up with Trey. He quit. He quit and walked on at Wyoming, and they kicked him out.
Yeah.
I'm sure Sterling's a great dude. Like
no, he's not.
I don't know what he's like as a dude.
At that time, he wasn't.
I don't know what he's doing now, and I don't mean any disrespect to him at all. But like he was, soft.
We all changed.
He was soft, and like, look, I grew up. I was soft to start, but like. I grew up, but bro, we went to do the Bear Bowl, and he was crying. I was like, we get full contact finally end of the year, and he's crying. I was like, yeah, but this ain't.
He was soft. The girl I was talking to at that time, you remember? There's no point in naming him, but
there's no point.
Yeah, he was trying to intervene that and ruin that from like a third party difference, and at that time he wasn't. Now, granted,
I don't know what he's doing now.
Yeah. The Brodrick that's here sitting is so much different. So
dude,
you might argue that I was also not.
None of us are operating like we were perfect back then. It's just both of us had issues with Sterling. Mine was from a toughness standpoint. Brodrick's was he's over here talking to his girl, and none of it worked out anyway. We all went our separate ways, did other things, and we're all different people now. So like, he's never gonna hear this, but if he does, look, I don't know what you're doing now. I'm sure you're a cool person.
Wish you the best, brother, for sure.
Wish you the best.
For sure. God's prayers to
you were soft.
You
had soft hands. Let's just call it a spade.
Brodrick sitting here right now would thought that Brodrick back then was also soft hands.
Agreed, yeah.
So
Brooks back then was soft too.
Totally changes, yeah. So I wish you the best, brother.
For sure.
Snowball's chance in hell you hear this.
He won't.
No, probably not.
But anyway, so we were on the official visit. Both had a great time, and you're absolutely right, by the way, and totally legitimate. Like, first of all, no life experience coming from a private school, right? Like, and like not like I don't know what Bishop Lynch was about, but we were like a rich white private school.
You were a true private school. Bishop Lynch was like
now
the kids.
I didn't belong there because I wasn't in the same tax bracket as the rest of those kids were, and I was only there 2 years, but you're completely legitimate. I was a Bible thumping, no life experience, figuring out who I was, and Me and Kyle were pretty similar,
Yeah,
Ergy,
and,
and he's doing well now.
Yeah,
he's married.
He's married.
He shared something with me the other day. I can't share yet, but he's big things coming his way, man.
Well, that's fair. Big redhead things.
Big red. I'm so happy for him. But anyway,
happy for him.
Right. So we spent a lot of time together to start. We both ended up committing that official visit. You remember when Nick hit Joe's truck?
Oh yeah. Well, let me phrase. I half remember.
Right?
I half remember because I was not sober. I don't believe
so much.
I was not.
I was also the guy that wasn't drinking.
To put it perspective wise, that was the second visit I had gone on, and it was the second time Brodrick had drank ever in his life. And if you know anything about drinking at elevation, it doesn't take as much to get you drunk.
So much harder.
Yeah.
So much harder.
So it was definitely affecting my judgment, to say the least.
Yeah, did you have Nick as your?
Yeah, Nick was my host.
Nick was your host. Kiefer Morris was mine.
Yep,
Two awesome guys.
Yep.
And we were at the bar. Kiefer was about to throw a party at his house, and I think, right? Or was that the day before? Yeah. Either way, so they were like, man, I don't know how we got there, but we needed a car. So they go up to Joe Lazel.
Yep.
And now, like, the statute of limitations is over on this. I don't know if Nick and Joe still hang out, but Joe's got a new truck, so it doesn't matter.
Yep, all good. On the water
Nick's
under the bridge.
driving Joe's truck. Joe said, "If you wreck my truck,
I do remember. I feel like I remember.
I'll kill you." You know? And I'm just watching the exchange. Nick gets in the car. I'm in the back seat. Brodrick's next to me. We got Jason for some reason, and then Keith is in there. And Nick pulls it too wide, smokes a Subaru right next to us. Of course, it's a Subaru. It's Colorado.
Yep.
We get out. We wipe the red paint off the white Subaru.
That's all you can do. Yep. All you can do.
That was something else. You ended up drinking far too much that visit. I had to pull you out of the basement when the cops came.
Too much.
And carry you into the hotel room.
And
we both committed.
Yep, we both committed.
Yeah, man. Good times, dude.
Yeah. I it's funny. I remember the conversation I had with Coach Ernest Collins before committing. We were at the basketball game, me, Nick, and I think you had gone to. Everybody had gone.
Yeah, I was right behind you.
We were at the basketball game, and I was like, man, like, I just need to ask him something. So Nick was like, yeah, I think he's up there. Like, go talk to him or whatever. And so we went and talked for like 5-10 minutes. And I was like, yeah, like, this is it. And then we walked, and I had made in my mind to commit to them.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, if I'm already committed to them, then the rest of my time there could just be partying.
Yep.
I don't need to worry about anything else. And so when we literally left the basketball game and walked across the grass fields to the Thunderdome, in my mind I was like, let's turn it up. We're going to volume 12. And we did. And I did, yep. And I absolutely, I do remember this because it's so funny. I wish I need to, now that I think about this story, I need to find Sean Reams.
Sean Reams?
Yeah, I need to find him on Instagram and just see what's up.
He follows.
Yeah.
He'll listen.
Yeah,
I want him on this so bad.
I need to find Sean. So Sean, when you see this or listen to this, hopefully you do. I apologize. But I just remember being at that party, and I remember looking and seeing you in your Letterman vest, and I was like, okay, well, this is trashed. Because I'm like, they're gonna know something's up. And I had some of the Incredible Hulk from Denzel.
Yep.
Way too much. And I remember him, I took a drink from it, and he turned to Nick. He's like, take a little drink. And I knock it out a lot. And he turns to Nick and says, hey, keep an eye on him. And Nick's like, yeah, this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
And I go up to Reams, and I forgot. I think I asked Kiefer, or maybe it was Joe. I was like, hey, do y'all have anything to drink?
Yeah. Because you hadn't had enough.
I hadn't had enough.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, man, I don't know. But, it's a party. Like, somebody's going to have something. Just find somebody and be cool and ask them. Yeah. And so I turn around, and I think Sean's talking to some girl at the counter in the kitchen. And I'm like, hey, fireball, great. Take the fireball literally out of his hand and knock some of the handle back. And I don't remember too much about this, but Sean, you filled me in on the story. And I just remember like Joe stepping in between and
Sean was hot.
Keeping him from literally decapitating me at that moment. And which he certainly could have done.
I love Sean Reams.
Yes.
He's one of my favorite human beings.
Still appreciate you, Sean.
Yeah. But like between the whistles and when you got on his bad side, I hated his ass. And he knows this. Like I had him over to my house. Like that 2019 season after we had just finished up 2-10, where we went 14 weeks in a row without a bye week, and he came over to my house.
Great schedule planning.
Dude,
thank you, Ernest.
Why did we always we had a bye week? I talked about this with Grant Hudgens. He was on the first episode. Every year we either had the bye week at the very end or the very beginning, or like let me tell you the worst, the second to last game.
Yeah, well,
especially when you already have a losing record.
Yeah,
you're like, this is the worst.
Season's decided. Thanksgiving is getting close, and we're going to take a bye week so we can lose complete focus for the last game or two.
No.
Yes.
But anyway, Sean, like I've talked to him about this. Like Sean was absolutely a dirty player, which you want in your own line.
Yep.
You want it, and he had a temper.
So was Zach, but
yeah, absolutely, and Zach too, 100%.
Captain America or Captain Canada. Captain Canada. I'm so sorry. My fault. I'm turning into Biden.
Ever? Oh gosh.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That's so good.
Well, I don't. For those that are wanting to see brief side note, I hate everybody. So don't worry. This is not a political statement. I don't like anybody. I actually hate everyone.
You and Sean have that in common. Actually.
Yeah. So don't worry.
Yeah, but no, he worked so hard in the weight room. Like he's a great dude and one of the funniest people you ever meet. But no, Sean was hot, dude. I remember watching that. I was like, Brodrick's about to get his ass beat.
Oh my god! I think Jason looked at me like, huh? And then Jeremy was like, yeah.
Jerem was so happy to be there, bro. I want Jerem on this
too.
He's so funny.
Love Jerem, man. Still my dog.
Oh yeah, me too. He's supposed to be at the wedding. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then Grant Stevens is officiating it, right?
Wait,
Grant Stevens is the official. He's officiating the wedding.
He got really okay.
You can get ordained easy.
Yeah, I've heard about that, but I didn't know he went and did that. That's cool.
Yeah, no, he's getting ordained for it, and he's gonna do it, man. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, I'm excited. But no, it's gonna be a blast.
That's so much fun.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
man.
Awesome.
The bachelor party's gonna be cool. But anyway,
that'd be fun.
So we spent some time at UNC. Obviously, the team wasn't very successful.
No.
And you decided at one point, like, just this ain't for you.
No.
Totally fair. It's not for a lot of people. UNC was so difficult, and we had so many coaching staff changes, defensive changes. Like, by the end of it, you're playing 4-eye to 3-tech and not really getting the love.
No
you
spin.
Need.
Yep.
Yeah. So no spin, no joke. So you decide to move on. I believe it was Cisco right after that. Right?
Yeah. So I'll try to move through it just because I don't know people have time and they got to worry about stuff.
You're good, man.
So, and even if we got to edit this, I think this section would probably be really good. If you have anybody young, listen to the short story we're going to give. In many things, I would say I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
But the one thing I can say I'm an expert in is in moving.
Yeah.
And the benefits of them, but also the major takeaways and the major issues that come with doing it consistently.
Sure.
And so I don't remember which it was the practice. I remember actually now. What it was is we had a week where one of our interior D linemen, I won't say his name, but he had gotten hurt and his knee was messed up and he had a cast on and all this. And rather than giving me an opportunity to play, they said, well, we're going to play him.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I said, okay, well, if you think so little of me that a man with one okay leg and one okay arm is better than me, then you've decided your fate on what I am.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so that started the ball. And then when I saw that they decided they wanted to travel a younger guy than me, I said, okay, they've passed me up. In their mind, they've given up on me. For those that are wondering, it was pretty deserved. But in that moment, I was like, well, they've given up on me, so I need to find a way out. Yeah. And so I went to Armor, and I was like, man, I need to find a different landing spot. Like, can you help me? And Last Chance of You had been going on, so I'm like, we're going to go JUCO. Again, there's a lot to learn from this. We're going to go JUCO. We're going to piss on these high school rejects that went JUCO. That's what I thought they were at the time. And we're gonna embarrass them, and then I'm gonna end up at Alabama, and I'm gonna show the middle finger to UNC. Like like that was literally my mindset. Like, you guys, you'll hear how the story goes, but I was like, that was my mindset. And he was like, well, I know this guy that I from out in Cisco. It's back in Texas. You can be closer to your dad. And my mom was living out in Texas still at this point.
Yeah.
And you can go out there. and be closer to your family. And I was like, okay, that works. And it was Cisco's about 30, 45 minutes from Abilene, and they had offered me to, and I had turned them down to go to UNC. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, this is a good opportunity all around. Yeah. So I remember deciding I was going to leave, and I didn't say anything, but it was pretty obvious I wouldn't be returning. Yeah. And the last practice, we were stretching, and Coach Collins came up to me, and not the greatest football strategist, Coach Collins, but
great guy.
Great guy, great man.
Being. Yeah.
Definitely taught me a lot that I still think about to this day. Mm-hmm. If there's any chance he listens, I apologize for not knowing what I know now. But he was like, you let all of your outside things determine your decisions. And the day you stop doing that, you'll find what you're looking for. And I brushed him off, and I was like, he doesn't. The guy gave good advice. Yeah, he did. He's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Left, whatever, and I go to Cisco, and Cisco's in the middle of absolute nowhere. At this point, I don't know if it's changed, but there was no Walmart. There was no stores. It's basically a college and a almost just over 3,000 person town. Yeah. I mean, you can literally see the I don't want to call them dust bunnies, like the big version, the tumbleweeds.
Tumbleweeds, yeah.
Yeah, you can see the tumbleweeds rolling by. Like, we shared a field with a high school. Yeah. Like, it was literally in the middle of nowhere.
That's what it was, yeah.
And it was, if you watch Last Chance U, that is not what JUCO looks like. It's not. I promise you guys. I promise you. And it's funny, we had a teammate named Tank at UNC that was like, you wouldn't survive JUCO. And I thought he was full of SHIT. And, man, I understood what he meant as time went on there.
Tank was a character, bro.
It was a character, but
Tank's something else, bro.
And a lot of what he said, in one ear and out the other. But I will say that stuck with me. And then when it happened, I was like, oh, I do understand what he meant by that. Yeah. And go to Cisco. You can ask questions if you want. I can just fill in how kind of the story. I don't want to run with the whole show.
You're good. The first one was 2 hours. Like the second one was 2 hours. Like we can cut down what we want. And, and if you want to keep it in, which I'm going to keep most of this in, but don't worry about any of that. I'm just operating on your schedule.
No worries. Man, if anything, I just want this section because there's gonna be so many teaching points. Yeah.
That's why I have you on.
Yeah. Not that I'm a good teacher, more just I'm a good discipline. I've been disciplined so you could witness and learn. But yeah, and so I get to Cisco, and I move into the dorm, and it's it's the nastiest. It's like I don't want to be too drastic, but I imagine if you were to give things levels, level 1 is a prisoner of war, level 2 is Cisco. Like, it's above. It's right above. There. It's above. Like, I'm not I don't want somebody that's been that to disrespect, but like as far as living conditions, it's above. But we had bed bugs, we got roaches, the AC doesn't work. Yeah. It's 4 white walls. I mean, it's like a detention center. I mean, again, it's as nasty as you can expect. Yeah. Move in there, and I meet this guy. I don't even want to give him the say his name because it's not worth it. And he's the head coach. Yeah. And so we get there.
Keep going. Go ahead.
No worries.
I was going to turn down a little bit.
Yeah, we get there, and summer workouts start, and I will give Coach Butler a lot of credit. Mm-hmm. Great strength and conditioning coach. Good man. He tried to teach me a lot. I really would like to give my appreciation to him. I start to understand a lot of what he said. Coach Cam, too. Shout out to Coach Cam. Yep. I talk to him still pretty often.
Same.
But anyways, you go from that, which was a really, really good strength and conditioning program, to like some middle school dad's education of strength and conditioning.
Yeah, it's rough.
And it's like, guess what? If this is too hard, you have a big old fat. And I don't. If you're a woman, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in that sense. Please.
That's just what they said.
Like, no. That is literally what he said. Yeah. Like, no. If he literally looked at somebody else's time and said, if this is too hard, you've got.
God.
Like, and I'm not saying that to be disrespectful.
That was
literally the words uttered that he said. So please don't think that I'm misogynistic in any way or anything. Yeah. But that's literally the words he said.
Yeah.
And like, just the most foul. I mean, I'll keep this part PG. So if you need to change anything, but just the most foul individual.
Yeah.
And I go in there, and one thing they had promised me was like, "Well, you're going to play Dion again," and I always thought that was me. Yeah. And we go through the training conditioning. I'm grinding. I make friends with everybody. Shout out T Green, rest in peace, Tony.
Yeah.
And make friends with everybody. I meet my roommate Kane. That's still my brother to this day. And everything's good until we get to spring ball. And spring ball comes, and we're getting the pads and everything. And he's like, "All right, like, hey, Brodrick, you're gonna play nose tackle." And for those of y'all wondering, this you can picture. It's like going from small forward. You get the ball on the wing. You can shoot the ball. You can drive the ball. You can do whatever you want. To now, I'm making you Rudy Gobert, DeAndre Jordan.
Hey, bro, I played nose tackle last year.
Yeah,
you know that, right?
Yeah. I
but I was
255.
I played against Wyoming.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like and here's the thing about JUCO is like the desperation takes hold of you.
Oh yeah.
Because it's the gutter.
Yeah, it's the Wild West.
It's literally the gutter. And so the desperation takes hold. And you're like, if I don't have this clip, that clip, this third clip, then, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck here forever. And I can't even get a 4-year degree. You know? And so it's like, And,
it's brutal.
Yeah. And so when he said that, we immediately started bumping heads. So first lesson for kids, it does not matter. It does not matter. It does not matter if your coach is dead wrong. Mm-hmm. If you are against him, it will not work out for you.
True.
So even if your coach is dead wrong, there's going to be plenty of coaches that you might have that are 100% dead wrong. But if you're against him, you just actually won't get on the field, and that is the worst thing for you.
Because you got no film.
Yeah. Yep. So even if he's wrong, even if you said, "Well, I'm a point guard and you're playing me at center," right? Or, you know, I'm a striker and you're playing me at goalie. Whatever your sport is, whatever you do, you know, it benefits you nothing to not be out there. Yep. So always find a way just to suck it up.
Get on the field.
Yeah, just get on the field and suck it up.
Yeah.
And so he puts me there, and I'm not happy. I vocalize it many, many, many times. Mm-hmm. Spring ball goes through. I'm doing good in spring ball. I mean, I still play ball. It's not like I can't play.
And it's not a far cry from from DN. I mean, it sucks, but it's
same realm,
still,
just
still
more physical.
Unit. Yeah.
I just didn't like the pass rush opportunities, obviously.
Taking triple teams.
Yeah. But we had a guy there named Rehoboth. Again, probably zero chance he watches this, but if you do, shout out to him. There's very few people I'll say handed me my ass, but he handed me my ass.
Yeah.
And that corrected these JUCO guys can't play thought that I had in my mind. He corrected that very quickly. Yep. He was a really, really good player. I think if he doesn't get hurt, he's probably the best D2D lineman because he went on to A&M and Commerce and who knows.
Balled out, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and so the lesson for kids, number one, is don't fight your coach because it just does nothing good comes from it. If you can leave, fine, whatever. That's something to discuss. Mm-hmm. But if you have to be there, it does nothing to fight them.
Agreed.
And so spring ball happens, summer comes, I work from home. My dad gets diagnosed with kidney failure that summer. End-stage renal failure is a technical term. It means your kidney functions are below 10%. Yeah. My dad is diabetic, never took care of his health. I love my father, but that's a true statement.
Yeah.
And I don't think much of it at the time. I will never forget this. He even makes the comment he tells me, and I'm just like, that's all right, no worries, we just battle it. And he's like, man, I thought you'd be more bothered and I was like, oh no, you're. At that point, my dad was still. I love him, but he was still what I thought he was.
Yeah.
And I thought he was Superman, and I was like, "Oh,
you're gonna get over it.
That's not a big deal."
Yeah.
I mean, I knew what it was, but I was like, it'd be fine.
Tough, but
he's gonna thug it out, and he'll get a transplant. It'll be all good.
Yeah.
And so I didn't play into it much at all. And so, so he gets diagnosed. Fall season comes, and I actually get my somewhat closer to my wish, and they moved me to 3-tech for the actual season.
Yeah.
Now, they make me the backup. Again, is that a stick inside? Sure, he's not happy with me, but he needs good players.
Yeah.
Coaches want to win.
Yep. Agreed.
And I'm playing, and I get the starting role. And I'm like, oh, man, this is it. We seem to be on a decent page. Everything's cool. They had fired a D-line coach that that initially came in because he spoke up for me. They actually fired him because of that.
Yeah.
I found out later. But playing good, everything's good. And we're doing I'm drawing a blank. We do the conditioning drill or pursuit drill. We do pursuit drill. Pursuit drill.
God, I hate pursuit drill.
And it's just like every other pursuit drill. Come off the ball, step, get through the line, and then you turn and run your angle.
Yeah.
And do it 2 or 3 times. He's not happy. Come on, first group, get out there, do it right. And
that's a universal experience.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're on defense,
universal.
It's universal.
It's always wrong.
Yeah.
You've messed it up somehow.
Yeah.
And
Colin Casper.
somebody's Cadillac and somebody's doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And I remember we go through it. I'm dog tired. I'm running up. I run up to him. You break down the quarterback and then you break off. And I step to break off, and I step on my teammate's foot.
Oof. And
I destroy my ankle. And I have weak ankles. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
Not weak from the fact that my ankles get broken, but more like weak if it rotates, it just goes complete 90 degrees. I don't know what happened, but and so I basically get the effect of a high ankle sprain.
Yep.
And so I fall. Trainer, I gotta say thank you. Every trainer, there's been at least one trainer at every school I've ever been at that's been awesome. So I want to say thank you. I don't remember his name, but he's a wonderful dude. I appreciate you.
Yep.
But anyways, he helps me off the field. He tapes my ankle up, and I finished the practice. And it was one of those ones where I limped through the rest of the practice. I played good, but I limped through the rest, and I'm like, I know I'm not playing again. Yeah, I'm not playing again. And I go to the sideline after practice. I'm like, hey, how bad is it? He's like, you won't be practicing for at least a week or 2.
Yep. Been there too.
Yeah. And so limp off, take tape off, ankle turns into a grapefruit.
Yeah.
High ankle sprain.
Yep.
I rehab. This is during fall camp. Rehab. First game comes, I'm still not healthy. Don't play. Not a big deal. Second game comes, I'm finally healthy. I came back 3 or 4 weeks before they expected. I ran the hill every night. Jacob's his name. I just remember Jacob's his name. Rehab every day with Jacob. Grind. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you're second string. Cool. He gives me number 62. I'm like, whatever. I just want
that Rob Moss special, baby.
Shout out to Rob Moss.
Shout out Rob Moss.
The sleeper build, if you're a car guy, sleeper build of players. Freaking baller.
Absolutely. Dude was a man.
Streaking baller.
Good.
And first game comes, we're blowing them out in the first half, get no playing time. Second half comes along. My teammates liked me. I don't want to pretend to be that guy that everybody likes, but people liked me. I grind hard. I was a good guy. I was pretty humble. And people are like, yo, you're going to go in? I'm like, man, I'm trying to. And he turns to me and he's like, sit your ass on the bench. You didn't play any of fall camp. You're not getting in.
Dang, man.
And it just sinks, and I'm just like, da-da-da. Like, it's just the worst.
Yeah.
And so when the game ends, we blow them out. I played 0 snaps. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I said, screw this. My dad's sick. I'm not going to be here away from home.
Yeah.
And his condition had gotten worse. I'm not going to be here away from home to not play. Lesson number 2, guys. Do not quit at the first opportunity, no matter how beautiful it looks.
Yeah.
That could be with a girl. That could be with a sport, a job, no matter what. Do not quit at the first opportunity.
Yeah.
So I quit, go home, and he texts me
just a little bit.
No worries. He texts me a photo, and he's like, I hope it was worth it. And it's letters from college after college, all Division I's, University of Louisiana Monroe, UNT, SMU, all basically any Southern FBS school you can think of.
Yeah.
Letters from them to me. He's like, I hope it's worth it. And I reach out to those schools because I'm like, well, they were interested.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, and then all of them basically said, hey, your coach said that you were not a good teammate, da-da-da. Yep. We're not interested. Close the door. Slam door in the face. And
that's the worst.
Yeah. And so I'm working at Walmart. My dad gets me a job at Walmart. I'm doing oil changes for Walmart. Shout out the crew that some of them are still there. Shout out William. Shout out Otis. Shout out
We have to
Dean.
take a drink for every shout out we give.
Yeah, those
I got you.
Big drink for them. Those old heads. Shout out to them.
Yep.
And and so start working at Walmart to help my dad with the bills. My dad gets laid off, so now I'm covering a lot of it.
Yeah.
Training, praying for an opportunity, and to pause for a second, just on that segment, a couple things to note. Like, in JUCO, there's no rules, so you're pushed as hard as you can go. What I know for a fact, guys, is if you're training, again, make this soundbite if you need, whatever. But if you're training, I promise you can go harder.
Absolutely.
No,
Mine gives out.
Hey,
your body does.
I know you're looking in the mirror going, I'm going hard. I promise you can go harder. Mm-hmm. I promise. Please go harder. You can go harder. You can go harder.
Come on.
You don't have to be David Goggins. That's a ridiculous level.
Yeah.
Again, snowball chance of hell you see it, David. What's up, brother?
David Goggins. Hey, we've got Michael Jordan. Hey. We've got David Goggins.
Yeah, put him aside, David. I want you to please come.
Yeah.
But anyways, you can go so much harder.
Yeah.
And I remember my uncle had sat me down, and I love my uncle to death, and he helped me so much. He sat me down, and he goes, I don't think you're trying as hard as you think you can. Yeah. At that point, I didn't understand. Yeah. I didn't have the realization. I said, no. I am. You don't understand. I'm grinding. This. I'm giving all these. He's like, no. You're not going as hard as you think you can.
Yeah.
And he said, you'll figure it out, but it might be too late. And my uncle loved me to death.
Yeah.
And
still does.
Yeah, still does. And so, anyways, I'm working at Walmart. I'm training. I'm thinking it's the end of things. Is there any questions you want to ask about that time period before I get to the next?
No, go for it, man. No, yeah. Look, I know your story. I want other people to hear it because you got a really cool story. So, yeah, keep going.
It's kind of cool, I guess.
I think it's cool, man. It made you who you are, which I think is it's awesome.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm working at Walmart, grinding, and I learned the lesson that there's a lot worse things than training for the sport you love.
True.
Guys,
don't take it for granted.
Do not take it for granted. Do not. There's so many worse things. There's nothing worse than getting up and working a job. I don't mean a career. A career with growth. I'm talking about a job, a dead-end job. There's nothing worse. It is literally depressing.
Yeah.
Depressing.
Doing something you hate just to put food on the table.
Just to cover the bills.
Yeah, just to make the lights on. Yeah. Keep the lights on. Yeah.
And so, please, guys, if you're in high school, middle school, college, and you're like, well, I just can't wait to get to this enjoy the point you're at. Please, please.
There's a season of enjoyment. Like, there's something to enjoy in every season, no matter where you're at. There's something you can find. Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. Dude, Greeley was that way. Like, everybody.
Looking back, oh, God.
That's the funny thing. Like, so many people hate Greeley because there's a lot to hate about Greeley, and like, there's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of stuff that's difficult, and but at the same time, like, there's that everywhere. So, but there's also good everywhere, so you can find it.
If I had maximized the opportunity, okay, do we suck at football? Yeah, we me being there does not mean that we win any more games. Whatever, fine. Sure. But I maximized my opportunity. I was ahead of schedule for my degree. Mm-hmm. I grad transfer, especially the way the rules are now. I grad transfer. COVID happens. I get my extra year. I'm playing at an FBS school in front of the lights. I've got strength conditioning that was great at UNC. I've got hopefully good ones wherever I'm at. Yep. And that's 1, 2, 3 into my end goal, which was trying to play professionally. Yeah. Versus shooting myself in the foot consistently. Yeah. Now that doesn't mean that leaving is bad. A guy like Jalen, the quarterback for the Eagles, I don't know.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I can remember his last name.
Yeah, going from Bama to OU.
Yeah, I'm not here to say leaving is never good. It helped me in high school. But just to the maximum level, try to be aware that your leaving is a logistical move. It is a strategic move, and not a a emotional move.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So please make logical moves, not emotional moves. Most of you guys, if you see it and you're under 25, frontal lobe's not developed. It's going to be all emotional.
Listen to the old heads.
But please,
the fact that we're old heads is
please,
crazy.
if I could shake you right now, I would.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I'm working there, and I call my high school coach, and I'm like, hey, man, is there anybody that will pay me to play? I've got to finish at least my bachelor's.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I can call people, but the rumor's out that you're just not a good kid. That's what's out there.
Yeah.
And
it's such a tight-knit community, too.
yeah, it's a boys club. It's a boys club.
Everybody talks to everybody and knows everybody.
Coach Armour, who recommended the coach, he didn't know the guy was that way. They just had gone to conferences a couple times, and they were buddy-buddy, and it was cool.
But that's the point.
They didn't know the real.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't get to see that.
Yeah, and so he's like, well, it's so funny. He calls me. He's like, so West Virginia. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to be a Mountaineer, Big 12. Woo, let's go. Let's go. He said, no. You're in West Virginia. And I said, oh, like, is there like an FCS school like West Virginia State or something? Like, that's cool. I'm cool with that, man. Like, He said, no. West Liberty.
Yep.
And I'm like, huh? And he's like, you're going to get a call from this guy named Bubba. And
what's
pick
his
up the
last
phone.
name?
Bubba Hill's his last name.
Bubba Hill.
Like straight off of King of the Hill.
Straight out of it, man.
Sells propane and propane accessories.
And I get a call like 2 or 3 minutes later. I'm literally in the middle of an oil change, get a call. And it's from a number I don't recognize, and it's the area code's West Virginia, and I pick it up. I'm like, hey, this is Brodrick. You know, how can I help you? And the loudest voice I've ever heard over a regular phone. It sounds like he's on speakerphone. Hey, man, you know, we're excited about you, man. We got you an officer. We're gonna and just starts rattling off. And so I agree to go sight unseen to West Liberty, West Virginia. If you're in West Liberty or Wheeling, West Virginia, I love you. I'm always here for you. Oh my God.
Damn.
I love West Virginia. That song about West Virginia, I don't even know it by heart yet, but I played it.
Dude, first of all, don't ever disrespect
I love West
John
Virginia.
Denver like that.
Yes,
it's country roads.
Yes,
take me home.
Yes,
Don't you ever.
West Virginia. I remember singing it, but I don't. Guys, I love West Virginia. Love it. If you haven't been, please go. It's more beautiful than Colorado. I will die on that hill.
I agree. More green.
Yes. And so I go out there and I meet Bubba, and this man is huge, proportionally weight-wise.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, your best friend's going to be this guy named Bob. And I'm like, who's Bob? I'm from Dallas. I'm not saying I'm from the hard streets, but like I'm from Dallas. I'm an urban kid. I'm like, we're in West Virginia. I'm talking to some dude who they call Bubba. That's not his real name, but they call him Bubba. He's huge. And who was Bob? And I meet this kid, dark black guy named Bob. And I'm like, why are they calling you? Like, nothing makes sense. And I drove out there with my ex, who won't be named, but I drove out there. Side note, just out of pure respect, at any level, I have to say thank you. I won't name a name, but thank you for the support. They gave a lot of support during some of these up and down periods.
Yeah.
It would be completely wrong for me to not say thank you to my ex and to her family.
We're not thanking them as much as Taylor, though.
Yeah, not thanking as much as
we
Taylor.
Love
Taylor.
We love I just got off the phone with Taylor.
Yes.
Taylor is my favorite person ever.
It would be wrong for me to not say
Next
that.
to my fiance, of course.
Yeah, gotta offer respect in that sense.
Of course.
So,
I
just want to do that. But yes, we love you, Taylor. Can't wait to see you in a minute. But anyways, and so she drives out there with me, and we get set up, and I'm out there in the middle of nowhere, and I fall in love really quickly. The guys are great. I play football there. It's not what I hoped. It's Division II ball, but man, it was so much fun. I met some of my best friends. Mm-hmm. One of the crowning achievements on my entire life that I will take to my gravestone is that somebody named me their best man. That's awesome. I don't hold that against you, Brooks. Believe me, there's nothing. But it was really
it's an honor, brother.
Yeah, it was so, and I'm excited to play my role in your wedding. But it was so exciting that somebody thought that much of me. And we didn't talk about my young childhood, but I did not have friends growing up. I was that kid that always had to be different, always had to be. So for somebody to look at me and be like, "You are my best friend,"
Yeah,
it meant so much.
of course.
And so shout out Kenyon, aka Bob, and Maggie. Love y'all, and Melina, their child.
Very cool.
Yes, she just had a birthday. Wonderful. And but yeah, and crazy Uncle Boo Boo.
What?
The if I ever met David Goggins in person, it was Uncle Boo Boo. Just a savage, and he'll love. If he ever heard it, me calling him that straight savage, he'll love it.
Oh,
we could get into stories about how that went, but shout out to him, and it was the best experience. And my career ended with my dad getting a lot more sick. Before my last game I ever played, I didn't know it would be last at the time. I was kind of 50-50, but it ended up being that way. My dad calls me and tells me, like, hey, we're amputating this, that, and the third. I'm going to need some help. Yeah. And so it was the last game. We got blown out against Frostburg, who eventually went on to like the semifinal of Division II, so they're a really good team.
Yeah.
And I just remember that game. I played a great game. Probably, I'm really glad my last game was a really good game.
Yeah.
And, my
that was
coach.
all she wrote?
Yeah, that was all she wrote. My coach helped me graduate early. Thank you to my coaches, any coach that's ever coached me, but especially those last ones with the up and downs. And I got home and started to work for the company I work for now. I'll just keep it out just because it's
in case you might listen.
Yeah, they're specific about the marketing they want, so I don't want to cause any rift. But
good company though.
Good, very very good company. Gosh. I don't know where I'd be without them. So I do want to say thank you.
Find something good.
Yes, but I do want to say thank you.
Of course.
Because they supremely gave me a chance. Even if I'm not happy about everything, they gave me as great as an opportunity as I could ever hope.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're doing very well.
Yes.
And it's kind of crazy, when you wrap it all up of, just a full career. Like you moved around a lot, of course, and did a whole lot. And at the same time, like, you're happy with how it ended, even though, because I don't share the whole. I did not have a good game my last game, bro. I was playing nose guard at 250 pounds, playing against Eastern Washington, taking on triple teams.
Yeah. Quick side note, not to interrupt you. Quick side note.
Yeah.
Just to go full circle, I was mad that I played nose at Cisco.
Yep.
My entire last year, I played nose tackle because we had 2 injuries. So, just to tie it back in, again. If you fight your coach, nothing good comes from it.
Yeah.
So just suck it up and make him like you. Don't kiss ass, but you just don't.
Just hey man, bite the bullet. I had to do that with Coach G, man.
Yeah.
I talked about him in the
horrible
second episode with Glenn. No. If Coach G listened to this, you are a terrible coach. You were a terrible coach and probably a worse human being. Like I don't know. I want good. I wish good on you. I wish good on your family.
He's grown.
If he's grown up, that's fantastic. He made my life hell.
He's grown. I've made so many poor decisions at the same age that he is now that I guess I'm just gonna say he's grown. So I'm just gonna say.
I hope he is. Like that's the thing. Like, but at that time, Coach G made me hate my life and myself.
Was very not good though. I can respect that.
I don't wish bad on nobody, and he's not gonna hear this. But if he does, I'd tell him to his face, like, look, maybe you're a better person than you were a coach, but you were a bad coach.
Let me know.
Hey man. But if you want to buy me a drink for all the trouble, feel free. I would still happily say hello.
I'm thinking as hard as hearts, he might actually.
He might. Yeah, I don't know, man. I hope he's doing well.
Shout out Eddie, who's coaching.
Dude, he was my last coach. He was the best coach I ever had. Bro, if you had stuck around, like I know your whole life.
Again,
like, it all worked out for you, but like I had 2 horrible coaches out of the 13 position coaches I had. 2 of them I had were really bad. The rest were kind of decent, whatever. And then I finished with Eddie freaking Gonzalez III.
Another lesson if you're a kid, guys. God will move things to make your circumstance the circumstance he wants it to be.
Yep.
Yes. Eddie was like my mean older brother.
Yep.
But there were times when I would go out there on the weekend and Eddie would come out there and it would literally be just us 2 hitting the sled and nobody else.
Yeah.
And had I stuck it out either grad transferred or even just stuck it out and just played at UNC, the football player I would have became would have been so much more ready to try and play professionally versus the guy was at the very end.
Yep.
No disrespect against UNC or anything, but that gap, it just would have been better.
Yeah.
So, again, God will
Stick it
move
out
things.
sometimes.
Yeah, He will move things to create the scenario. You don't have to move the mountain yourself. He's going to do it for you.
That's what happened with me. Like I was this close. If the coach who was coaching me before Eddie, that last guy, if he had come back, and I'll shoot straight on everybody. Like he wasn't a good coach either. His name's Coach T, and he was he's a fantastic
something about Coach T. I didn't say his name, but Coach T was the JUCO coach earlier. So I don't. Hey, if your last name starts with a T and you go by Coach T, change it.
Change it, dude. You
Change
got a
it.
bad rap.
There's just a bad rap
right now.
Yes.
But his name's Coach T, and he's a great
Sorry to be the
person.
mic.
No, you're good, dude. You're good. It's it's all good. But Coach T made my life miserable, made other people's lives miserable. Was like verbally confirmed that he would like us better if we were a different race. And
Not everybody should coach.
not everybody should. Dude, that's a accurate statement, man.
a
There
shot.
are some
Not
people
everybody should
who
coach.
are fantastic
Not everybody should
coaches.
teach.
And there are people who are terrible coaches that just got in, and because it's anyway. But no, if I was not number one, if Hope and I hadn't already been dating, right, I was going to transfer. I was going to try. If I wasn't going to transfer, I was going to leave, right?
Yeah.
And then if Coach T came back, because there was word that he was coming back for a
Yeah.
second, I was going to leave. And the whole D-line actually said that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, can't stress enough, he's a great person, but was not a good coach and was, kind of made mine and other people's lives miserable. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not bad-mouthing anybody. I'm just telling the truth, I'm not dogging the guy. I'm just telling you the truth. So, anyway, Coach T ended up they decided not to continue with Coach T, and they brought in Eddie Gonzalez, who was my teammate for 5 years, and overall fantastic person.
The longest playing college player I've ever
Dude's still
seen.
there. Dude, this is his
Shout out to
10th year in Greeley, bro.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
What's
Sensational.
that? The sensational future meme.
Yeah.
Sensational.
And he's there. He's the director of op now, doing well. But anyway, so he was my coach that last year, and there's something about getting coached by somebody who's known you for that long. Like
He's been in the foxhole.
Yeah.
He's just been there.
Absolutely. He knows. So not only am I going to work harder because I want to make my buddy proud, but additionally, he knows what I respond well to and what he was there for the Coach T years. He was there for the Coach T years, So anyway, that was fantastic.
And just side note for those listening, and somebody might have mentioned it before, but Eddie did not like Brooks.
Oh, no.
The entire time I was there,
No, he didn't.
He vocalized to me
You're there
that he
2
did
years
not
and
like Brooks.
Yeah, no.
And
a lot of people didn't, by the way.
And I remember the first time, it was the first game Brooks ever really got any type of real PT playing time.
Yep.
And you had came off the edge and got a sack, and I'm on the sideline with Eddie, and Eddie had gotten hurt. And Eddie was like, "That's straight luck. I can't believe that guy got a sack." And
Why didn't everybody like me, bro?
And then I don't remember if it was the same game. I feel like you might have had like 2 sacks or something. Like you had like another hit.
I had a good play. I had one where I came off. I had a pressure, and then I had a sack right after another pressure.
Yeah, and it was just like he was like I just remember being like, "That's luck. He'll never do that." And then of course Brooks. If you've not seen Brooks' highlight, Brooks is on my short list of guys that could be in the NFL, but decided not to.
I don't know about that, but I'm honored.
Life is what it is, but he definitely could be if your Brooks when you have a kid, if he ever listens to this, he could be. If you're his son listening, I listen. He doesn't ever have to admit it. I will admit it for him. There's no doubt in my mind. But yes, but yeah, and. He's in the foxhole. His opinion changes, and again, that's.
We were just such different people, too.
Yeah.
So I've actually experienced this. Coach Payne told me this because, especially when I was younger. Now I'm kind of getting older to 25.
Where's Coach Payne at, by the way?
He's still at UNC.
He's still at UNC.
Yeah,
is he moved? Where's he at? In the
I mean, he's over all of the sports that's not football. Like,
really?
Pretty much.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Pretty
Nice.
much.
Good
Yeah.
for him. Good for him.
Yeah, but no,
Shout
Payne,
out Coach Payne.
I keep telling him I want him to leave. I want him to go do something better, but he loves it there and he's crushing it. And he's like Payne could go be a strength coach at any program in the country,
for sure.
without a doubt.
Shout out Payne, man.
But
cool dude.
no, Payne had the same opinion of me. Like, I'm a very positive, outgoing person.
Coach Jimmy did too. Oh,
Jimmy did too. Jimmy's told me this the other day,
y'all
bro.
didn't know, but first,
Go ahead, just say it. Just say what you're gonna say.
It wasn't. Listen,
I wasn't a prick.
he didn't understand that he didn't. Let me see how he didn't understand how to present himself in a manner so people could understand Brooks and like all the great things about him.
I was just unapologetically.
Yeah, it was just unapologetic Bible thumper.
A little bit.
And like,
yeah, accurate.
to some degree, if you haven't faced your demons, that pisses you off. And so, like, for those people like me initially, I hadn't faced my demons. And so, like, that was, like, an annoying thing. And then, you know, for others, even if you had, it's like, hey, just because you're right doesn't mean that you've achieved what you're supposed to. Doesn't mean that you are right. Just because you are right doesn't mean you're right. I know it sounds crazy, but good life lesson, kids. Just because you are right in principle doesn't mean you are right in the scenario.
Oh, I learned that too.
Yeah. And so, like, shout out Coach Jimmy. I don't know where he's at, but shout out Coach Jimmy.
He's
too.
a Wyoming still.
He's a Wyoming. Oh,
Jimmy, yeah. No, dude,
little Jimmy boy.
They had the strength and conditioning conference in Fort Worth, and I went and grabbed dinner with Butler, Cheyenne. Katie was supposed to be there, Coach Katie.
What?
And then Jimmy and Payne were there.
What was that?
That was May or April. It was April and May. Yeah.
This year?
Yeah, this year, bro.
What?
Yeah, they all. Jeff, I should have texted you. I literally said Brodrick would love to be here, bro. I've got some funny stories about that.
Man.
But no, Jimmy and Payne were both echoed. They like. Payne told me this. This is my sixth year. I'm showing up. I just crushed an energy drink. I walk into the gym. You just hear, like, you know, that BS. And Payne pulls me to the side. He's like, hey, I got to tell you something, man. Like, I want to be totally real with you. When you first got here, I hated your ass. And I'm like, Payne? And he's like, yeah, dude, I thought you were so fake. Like, I thought, like, because you were bouncing off the walls, ready to go. Like, he said,
you were.
He said the first time, the minute that you come into this weight room without that energy, I was going to rip you a new one. And we're here 6 years later, and it hadn't happened.
You told me
yet.
that ahead of time, guys.
And apparently Jimmy felt the same way, which is like,
they all
I had
did.
my boss that I work for now think the same thing because they thought I was fake, and I guess I'm just a happy person, man.
I work with a guy now who you'll have to meet. His name is Arthur.
I met Arthur.
Yeah. He
Arthur's
was
great.
Yeah, like somebody like that. You're just like, that energy must be made in a lab because there's no way that somebody can just be that guy all the time, and they are. And so when you're not and you're not happy and it's your scale isn't balanced, it's easy for that to bother you. You know, and that's okay. Again, it's here and there. But but I also, obviously
Payne, Jimmy. It was kind of like Ted Lasso. If you ever watched that show, it was like eventually I got everybody to kind of like me a little bit.
They won them over. Yeah, you won them over.
Eventually. I got to be a captain that last year.
And they liked me. The thing is, the funny is they liked me, and it was because of that they continued to punish me. I mean, Coach Butler would punish me ruthlessly.
Dude, yeah, well, you kept
mouthing
off.
I deserved it. Don't
first day.
Again, another lesson for you young kids. Guys, hey, there's many people that might be okay with, you might be able to scrape by with them not liking you. The strength and conditioning coach is not one of them. Bro. Do not pick a fight with the S&C coach. Do not do it. It's not the battle you want. Please don't do it. And avoid yourself the physical pain that I incurred. Coach Butler knows. Uncle Boo Boo, if you watched this from our workout, I did the same thing with him, and he surely let me know in the workout alone, and the warm-up alone, that I had made a mistake.
Yep.
And
yeah, dude, for context, first day we're like doing testing training maxes, right? Which is where you're not going fully 1 rep max on bench, but it's essentially how heavy can you go for a heavy single, and so we can base your numbers. You know.
program.
And Brodrick decided he was going to make a big jump, show everybody how big and strong he was. Failed it.
Oh, man.
Butler caught wind of it and was like, hey, that was not on the program.
Yep.
You weren't supposed to do that. And
I am the program.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
And so Coach Butler said, all right, here's a belt that's got a chain on it you can attach stuff to, and you're going to walk down. We had this big weight room that was like this.
It's long.
It was like a hallway.
It wasn't wide, but super long. It was supposed to be a storage closet is what it was supposed to be.
Just converted.
And they converted it to a weight room, so it was really long.
University of No Cash, UNC.
Yeah.
But anyway, we ended up getting a good weight room my last 2 years. Or my last year
Never
and a half.
saw it.
Yeah, actually just my last year. But anyway, so he's like, all right, you're going to walk down to the one end of the weight room, and each time we're going to add a chain until you've pulled every chain in this weight room. Those big ones. And Brodrick at first was like, man, this is easy. Man, this is nothing. He's talking smack each way. And I'm like, Brodrick, if you shut up, it's going to be easier for you.
Yep.
And by like lap number 30, Brodrick's got 29 chains on this thing.
Just
and he's like
dragging.
He's pushing his knees so he can keep making it.
It's literally inch by inch. I mean, to the max, and he's just in my face, just grinning.
Yeah, he's like I
thought
thought you were big and tough, Brodrick.
How do you feel now? And it's just like, okay, you got me. The magical thing, kids, is when you're doing a punishment and you're the one doing it and they're not, I promise you won't have more stamina.
Yep.
I said stamina. Stamina. It won't happen. It's just not going to.
You
so
cannot
do it.
You cannot outwork a sadistic strength coach. There's nothing you can do.
Can't do it.
Jeff
David
Butler
Goggins
is
another challenge.
absolutely one of those.
Yeah, don't do it to yourself.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Yeah, we've had we had a lot of memories, and they're all fun.
good ones. This podcast is the epitome of like
what not to do.
what not to do. Please take the lessons from it, and also the worst becomes the best over time.
Yeah. I know we've been talking now about 1:45, if you would believe it. I got some rapid fire questions I wanted to hit because we're going to do another one of these together. You and me, we can talk more.
If you want to, I'm not that special, but sure.
No, yeah, you absolutely are. One of the things I want to do eventually is run like a full-on like college game day analysis where we're talking about football and just you, me. We'll get some other former football guys.
Soft hands, brother.
Got soft hands, man.
Hey, shout out to Coach Jones. You gotta strike.
You gotta strike.
I'm sorry. Anyway,
Coach Jones was wild. I love Coach Jones. Start barking at you. Anyway, all right. Talk about your favorite football moment. Like in your entire career, and then talk about one at UNC because I just want to know like what your favorite moment was. Was it a win? Was it a certain play?
The favorite moment overall. That's tough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good ones. So many good ones.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase. I've been so blessed to have so many good ones.
Yeah.
I think my favorite moment. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna just do two, just
Go ahead.
circumstance. The first one, it's kind of a tie. It was my first varsity game at Richardson High School. I had played JV my sophomore year at Denton Geyer, and my brother was a 3-star, played varsity from his sophomore year. So me being on JV was considered an absolute abysmal failure to the family name. That's tough. And so my first varsity game, my junior year at Richardson High School, I didn't care that we weren't as good at anything. It was very, very special. Couldn't take that from me. And I wasn't secure at who I was as a person. So just being on varsity and starting and playing really just helped in that moment. And then my second one, and I don't mean this to rub it in or anything.
Go ahead.
But I really do think, actually, you know what? No, I'm not even gonna do that. No, I got it. The first game I ever played at West Liberty as a starter. It's slightly I was gonna say something about winning the state championship in that game. I was gonna say that like that's easy
so
one.
Fair,
that's a super easy one. I remember the ball gets knocked down. We won.
College memory.
Yeah. I think for college, what it was really was that first game at West Liberty. I'm not a big Instagram guy. I don't post. I literally do like a birthday post and maybe one other a year. So like I'm not a huge Instagram guy. I'll do car stuff, but that's like it. And that was on a separate Instagram. So, but my first game, like I remember posting the jersey. I remember like
just
I never thought I'd play again. I thought that was it. My mother had told me like, you will never play again. You're never going to graduate college. Like this is it. And so when that day came and we got off the bus and I had the jersey and we were at Notre Dame and we got a butt whooping of all butt whoopings. I won't even say it.
Y'all played Notre Dame?
Of Ohio.
Oh, don't do that.
I'm sorry.
No, hold on.
I'm sorry.
You know what you did.
Sorry. I literally.
I was like, Notre Dame whooped y'all?
To me, it might have been the same. I won't say the score, but it was the biggest loss I've ever taken in any sport.
Share the score. I'll share the worst one we took. You share it.
No.
Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Guys, I'll say this.
It ain't even going to be as bad as
and I have to say this. This might sound like a cop-out. They ran away from your boy. That's all I'm going to say.
Fair enough.
What was the score? But we lost 70-7.
Oh, that's right.
And it was...
Ours was 65-14.
Absolutely an ass.
But ours was a conference rival.
Yeah. Anyway, Notre Dame was in our conference. But yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Notre Dame, Ohio. Sorry, I don't mean to take away. But yes, not the actual Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That would have been more...
That would have been 140.
Yeah, that would... Oh, God. I mean, like, I was okay, but some of these guys didn't know to be out there.
Yeah.
Anyways, but just before that first game, I don't even care that we got. It was just like, I'm a college football player that's going to start a college game that's going to play amidst everything that ever happened.
Yep.
And I remember crying on the bus ride there because I just didn't think I'd ever play again. So that was really special.
Absolutely. Hardest hit you ever took in football?
I know this one. I know it's not even a question.
I'm saying everybody's got that one.
Not even a question.
I've got probably 3.
This was also against Notre Dame High School. Different game, though. This was my first full season of it.
Yep.
And they were at our stadium, and I had made a tackle for loss at TFL. And I had split the double team, and they had a guard and a center that were first-team All-American Division II.
Yeah.
Definitely pro scout guys. I'm not saying I don't remember if they ever got picked up.
Yeah.
But they were very, very good. They easily could have started at Division I level.
Yeah.
Good size, everything. And I split the double team against them, and I made the tackle for loss.
Yeah.
And I remember celebrating like, y'all ain't nothing. This game is different. We're not gonna lose 77. And we didn't. It was much closer. We lost by like 35. So a win is a win. but it was closer. 49-14 is much closer.
Oh, dude, that's so real, though.
Hey, you got to take your wins where you can take them.
There were so many games where I was like, yeah, we lost, and I hate losing more than I like winning. But, dude, I'm just glad it wasn't.
It's 11-man sport.
I'm glad it was closer.
Yeah. But anyways, so split the double team, make the tackle, and I'm celebrating. And the center, his name was Bean. I don't remember his first name. That was his last name was Bean. Yeah. And I remember him going like, man, that was a hell of a play. At the line, he's like, that was a hell of a play. Hey, we got something for you this time.
Yeah.
And so they came off, and the center guard double-teamed me. And they smacked me. They smacked me good.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what got it. The fullback came in the middle and hit me, and they drove me at least 10 yards back and on my ass. And it was all 3 of them. And we ended up getting a TFL. We got a TFL because they all were focused on me, but it was a personal moment at that moment.
Yeah.
And come to the sideline, and I'm literally looking cross-eyed. I mean, my eyes. No, they were literally. They were literally cross-eyed, and I remember sitting on the bench, and like
you got to close your eyes and look back and forth
my eyes,
to fix it.
And the trainer comes over, Carly. Shout out Carly again. I've had some amazing trainers. I don't know why, but I'm so blessed. Shout out Carly. She comes over and she's like, "Do you need a towel?" I'm like, "Yes, please." I put it over my head, and I finally get my eyes straight. Just as I get my eyes straight, I hear the magical words, Brooks. The magical words. Sudden change. And we go back out there, and so that was the hardest hit I had ever felt, and they got me. They got me good.
Had a few of those, man.
Yeah,
I 100% did.
Yeah.
Who was the team? I think I know the answer to this, but who was the college team you hated the most to play against? Either to play against or just hated most because you hated them.
Ooh, hated the most. West Virginia State.
Okay.
I'm not going to say the F word, but I want to say the F word about y'all. I'm just trying to be better in that sense. But
yeah.
we lost. They had a game-winning play, literally a game-winning play, because of a miscommunication. I just want to say, though, that if anybody else is actually, no. Not even West Virginia State because they're horrible. But Wheeling State, they're literally our closest rivals. They're our cross-time rivals.
Yeah.
Screw y'all. I destroyed y'all every game I could have played in. It's not my fault that our quarterback.
It's not our fault we lost.
It's not my fault that the quarterback threw 5 interceptions in the first game and 4 in the second one. There's nothing I can do, but just know y'all could never block me.
Fair
I'm
enough.
going to leave that out there.
All right. I stole this question from another podcast, one much bigger than mine, of course. And I want to ask you this because I know it's stupid, and I know you're going to give me a dumbass answer, and I think it'll be hilarious.
You dumbass answer.
You're locked into like a jail cell.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Just essentially, you got no weapons. You got your clothes on your back, right?
Yep.
What's the biggest animal you think you could take barehanded in a fight and win?
It's so funny.
What are you going to say?
There's
Because
no
if you
chance.
say a bear,
I don't
you say anything, because you've been known to say some stupid shit.
It's so funny because I don't think he'll watch this, but I'll send it to him just so you can see. But Nick used to be my roommate.
Yeah.
And we had this discussion, and I'm convinced a little brown bear.
Oh, you're so dumb.
Not like a black bear.
No,
not
you're
like
so dumb.
whatever the I don't know if it's a brown or a black one. It's one of the two. One of them is huge.
Well, a grizzly bear is huge.
Yes,
a black bear is smaller. A brown bear is bigger usually than a black bear.
Okay, then it's the black one. It's the black.
You think
bear.
you take a
Yes,
black bear?
Like
that black bear is still 300
yes.
pounds.
Yes, I do think I could take a black bear. I think it comes. I think the adrenaline comes. I think
Adrenaline doesn't beat
I need. What I need is a full equipment. I need to be in full football pads for this.
Okay.
Because
what does he get?
Because when I tell you I'm going to hit stick this man with everything in my entire well-being, I'm firing through the hips, and he's getting every ounce of strength I have, and I'm going to rock bottom him like Dwayne Johnson, and I'm just going to do it. And I have to hope that that's enough.
I'm gonna hit him with a stone cold stunner.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hope that's enough.
Line.
But in a realistic sense, I could probably take an alpaca. I could probably knock one of them out. Probably give them a cross. Bro. Yeah, they're mean, but I could probably give it a cross. Yeah, we're about eye to eye, so
you got a lot of real estate to choke out there.
Yeah. I think I could probably take out one of them bad boys. Maybe an ostrich too.
Oh, dude, those are tough.
Did the claws?
My grandfather fought one of those. You know that?
That's a bad man.
I tell you that. You know Poppy?
Yeah, those claws.
Dude, no, so my real quick sidetrack story, and I want to get him on this. He's never going to, but I want him to. He's convinced that the government's spying on him. And I'm like, Pop, they do not care about you. They're waiting you out.
The whole government, no. Is there an FBI agent listening? Yes.
Yeah, probably. But all they got to do is wait him out. I love him, but he's not going to live forever.
Yeah, brother.
Time comes. No, so Pop, he was Vietnam guy.
Quick side note. Let me use the restroom real quick.
Oh, go for it.
Quick pause.
Yeah. Go for it. You're all good, man. It happens. All right. So my grandfather, for reference, my mom, I come from a blended family. I think you know my mom, had a husband before she met my dad. And they had my sister, then they got divorced, met my dad, had me. And this guy, her first husband, not a...
I love that for your mom, by the way. My mom's remarried. I love my father, but also I love for that circumstance because it really can be
worked out better. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Dude, yeah, she did not deserve, the first guy. Like the first guy was not good to her, and it could have been a lot better. He's kind of a bum, but anyway, I don't care if you hear it. He's never going to listen to this. But anyway, so
we'll fight both of you.
He had the idea. He had this idea that I'm gonna make a lot of money breeding ostriches in Salina, Texas. So they bought, first of all, him and his brother bought a pair of ostriches. One got out, and they call in backup. They call in my grandfather to come, help it out. And they have this plan, so you got to drive up beside it because these things are tough now. They're 9-foot bird, Yeah, go ahead.
10-second pause. I'm not saying I'm Mark Cuban or...
It's not a great business plan.
Or I'm Jerry Jones or anybody in that realm. Mr. Wonderful, Donald Trump, any of them. Yeah. But that sounds like a horrific business idea.
Dude, they apparently were going for $20,000 a piece.
I don't know what in the world. I don't know what motivated you, but absolutely wicked idea. But keep going.
Horrible idea. But anyway, so one gets out of the fence, pin, whatever they had it in, and they call in my grandfather. My grandfather comes in. He was living in Salina too at the time.
Gotcha.
And so my poppy says, "All right, here's the deal. If you blind him, I don't know how he knows this stuff. Like I don't know how he knows it. He just knows stuff.
If you poke him in the eye.
Well, no, but he's like, all right, so I got a pillowcase.
Yeah. Oh,
he's like, we're gonna have somebody drive the truck.
Peter.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. But he's like, hey, we're gonna have somebody drive the truck up next to this thing. Then me, you, and your brother are gonna jump on this thing and wrestle it down. I'm gonna get the pillowcase over its head. Okay, that's the plan. Okay.
Oh,
and so they drive up close to it. It's just there, but it's not really it's not afraid of people. So they're next to it, whatever. I don't know if they're driving right by. Like I don't know if they're moving when this happens, or they just get up close to it. But regardless, he says on the count of 3,
drive by an ostrich takedown.
Yeah,
Wicked.
This is my family, brother. Yep. And count of 3, we're all gonna jump. Everybody knew the plan. 1, 2, 3. And my grandfather's the only one who jumps. Oh. He's in his 50s.
No.
And he's the only one that jumps. He takes the pillowcase, gets it over the thing's head, wrestles this thing down. It's like a 7 to, I don't know how big it was. It was a 7-foot ostrich. Those things are dangerous.
Yeah, they're big.
They'll kick you in the sternum and claw it's over.
No joke.
But he wrestled down that ostrich by himself. And it wasn't long after that my mom was like, I'm divorcing this guy.
About it.
Yeah, that's about it.
If that's not curtain call, I don't know what it is.
So I at least know what his answer would be because he's done it before.
Yes, and the ostrich, take him out.
All right. Most amount of alcohol you've consumed in one sitting.
It's going to shock you. It's not actually the party that we were.
I didn't think it was going to be that
Not
one.
even
And I
close.
also, I didn't know, because I've been involved in 2 stories with you.
Yeah.
And I won't share it if you don't want me
No.
to. If you don't want me to.
I'm going to save face, but I will actually say the most I actually was not that time.
Yeah.
The most, I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I don't even remember what game it was, but it was when I was at West Liberty. And we didn't have the Thunderdome, but we and Reddy and Hoosier and Blake Neely. I wish you could meet those guys. They're all wonderful.
At your wedding.
If there's any scenario, hopefully you can meet them. But they had a house on campus.
Yeah.
And it was the closest kind of thing to it. And thinking about it's so funny.
Yeah.
And we get there and completely sober. It starts with Neely getting pushed into the wall by, I think it was Enready Cody.
Yeah.
I think he pushed him in the wall and it puts a hole in it. And we moved the Bud Light poster to cover it. This is before Bud Light did the ridiculousness they did.
Yeah. Before they got canceled.
Yeah. And so anyways, but yeah. And so that started the night off. And we had Coach, I won't say his name actually for NCAA purposes because he's still coaching.
The coach came with you.
But he came by and he's like, man, congrats on the big win. You guys all balled. We were the best D-line group in Division II. I will put that against anybody. Yep. And he came by and dropped off a whole handle of Tito's, which was his favorite drink, and about 5 pizzas from Domino's. And was like,
that's a lad.
And he was like, hey, man, y'all have fun. Don't even worry about coming in tomorrow on Sunday. Let's rock and roll Tuesday. Yeah. Y'all be ready to do it. Yeah. And, I mean, we got sauced. And then I went up to the local bar. This is why I love West Virginia so much. I don't, I love where I'm at now, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm not grateful, but I would kill for just one more night just because it was fun. It was fun, dude. It was so much fun. And we had a local bar, shout out the Dirty Dog, and we go up there, and I mean, I'm already sauced out that handle, and we run into all my friends, and there was a cheerleader named Katie I was good friends with, and Bree I was good friends with, and it was just great vibes, and a couple people that I was cool with, like Laura in my class, and we had won, and it was a home game, so everybody was just buying drinks, and we got free wings whenever we won home, and I mean, it was just out of a movie. Yeah. And I remember getting so sauced, I went over and I fell asleep on the couch, on Katie's couch, Lily just passed out. Yeah. We were just good friends. Lily just passed out on her couch, and I woke up at 2 a.m. and was, not 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and was vomiting. But it was so wild.
That is the least eventful drunk story that I've ever heard from you, because I've been involved with 2 of them.
You've had worse ones, but like this is what quick side note, another teaching lesson. If you have the right people around you that are truly your friends, they actually look out for you and they take really good care. Agreed. And so shout out to again. I love where I'm at now, but West Liberty is a wonderful place. Yeah, absolutely.
I got you. All right, easy one here. Favorite Bible verse.
That's a difficult one.
Most recent. How about most recent?
No, you know what I would say? I'm not great knowing the verse numbers.
Yeah, the reference.
I want to give just the story. I don't know the verse numbers. I don't know where it comes. Yeah. I'm just not entirely sure.
Go ahead.
But the one that always floats around, and I paid tithe. I got paid today, so I paid tithe today.
Oh boy. Love
it. This is like my 2nd or 3rd month doing it.
Good
stuff.
So
I'd never done it growing up, and so they say to give willingly. But it's a story about a lady, and it's her last little bit of bread, and she makes a loaf of bread for I forgot his name, but makes the bread for him. And basically the premise of the story is she's like, hey, this is my last little bit. It's all I've got. Mm-hmm. If I make this for you, I will have nothing. And she made it and kind of accepted that she would just die. Yeah. And like God comes through, and every day she has enough flour to make more bread. Yeah. And I'm not doing a great rendition of the story. Certainly you probably know which one I'm referencing and can do a better job. But like just the premise is that give willingly, give with everything that you have, even if it's the last that you have, and God will take care of the rest. Yeah. And he will provide what you need.
Absolutely. That's a good one. I need to look that up because I'm not even sure where that is. But
I forgot the name of it. I think it's like Abraham. Not
I'm
Abraham.
Fairly familiar with the concept, but I thought I had in my head that it was like oil or something like that. But
he gave. I know it was bread. It was like it was her and her son. It was bread, and I just remember he came into town was part of the story. Yeah. And but just that story, just understanding that if you give willingly and you give with everything you have, God will take care of it. Yeah. And even in these times where my car gets stolen or things doesn't run what I hope it does, or so many things go the way I don't expect,
he's still taking care of you.
God, he still takes care of me. Yeah. And he's led me through so many storms. Yeah.
So there's a verse in the Bible that says, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. So in the context of it, it's essentially saying, hey, seek me first, do what I ask of you, and you will be blessed beyond measure. Yeah. Even if you don't see it, and even if it doesn't come in the delivery method you thought, you will be blessed.
Absolutely.
So that's it. Yeah. And I was going to ask this question, but you've already given so much to it. It's pretty easy. Just encouragement for athletes on to the next chapter of their lives, moving out of it. Like you're about to give it up, not going into college, but like, hey, it's time to hang them up. Just give me a one-liner for them or a little bit for them.
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. Yeah. The next stage is different than anything you've ever done. Mm-hmm. Is different than anything you've ever understood. Yeah. Be excited about that. Yep. There's a movie, it's going to sound so corny, but it's the Night at the Museum movie. I don't even like this movie because I don't like Ben Affleck. Yeah. I don't know why.
That's
Ben Affleck. Ben Stiller. You've done nothing. That face. You've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong. I don't know what it is. I just don't like
Michael Jordan, David Goggins, Ben Stiller.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't love your face. I guess I don't know. But in all seriousness, yeah. Robin Williams, rest his soul. He at the very end of the movie, he saved the day. He's the hero. And Ben Stiller goes, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Yeah. And Robin Williams is on his horse. He's pretending to be that
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt.
Best president we ever had.
Yes. And he goes, what a wonderful thing, or like what an exciting thing. Basically, the premise is just what a wonderful thing that you don't know.
Absolutely.
Unknown. And so as you
dive into it.
Yeah, as you get out of it, know that there's new challenges, new hills, and you're gonna not understand things. There's so many new waves that are gonna come to push you. Mm-hmm. Be excited.
Yeah.
Be so excited.
Yeah. I can say this to add to your point, like, the best moment you'll ever remember in football, whether that was moments in the locker room, a big tackle, a win, a sack, whatever it is, right? The best moments you'll ever have in that will never compare to the birth of your child, marrying the person you love, seeing your being involved with your family's development, being there for your buddies on their big days, like it's a wonderful, exciting thing, and
so much there.
And you
the wedding
so
for
much,
being the best man was way ahead of the greatest game I ever played.
And you are so much more than an athlete, and people don't believe that when they're in it. But like moving out from it, there's so much more to life than football and sports. But anyway, I like to end these with a prayer. Can I pray for us, Brother Bear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for Brodrick. I thank you for the time and the conversation we got to have. I thank you that you put him in my life, and though we may not have been big fans of each other to start, Lord, we know we are now. This is my brother. I thank you for how you've worked in his life, and I know there have been ups and downs, and he'd be the first to tell you, and he got to share some of that today. But ultimately, God, who he is now is because of the path you took him through, and I'm extremely thankful for that person, as I know a lot of people are too. Lord, we just ask that you bless us as we go our separate ways today, and just continue to work in his life and in mine. Continue to just grow him into a better man than he was today. And Lord, I know you've been doing that. He is a truly spectacular creation of yours. We love you so much. We thank you for all that you've done for us, and we thank you for years of friendship. So in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And I'll say one last thing. I stole this from a podcast called the Diary of a CEO, and you might want to borrow it.
I might.
Steven's a wonderful guy. Not that I know him, but he just must be.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna leave a question for the next guest on here.
Ooh,
and
he
always does that, and then the person that follows answers the question and then leaves one for the next one.
I will steal this. Go ahead.
And the question I'm going to leave is, if you got that number one thing that you always wanted, would you be happy?
Ooh, I like that.
And so I'm going to leave that. And thank you for the prayer, Brooks. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being on, man.
Guys, I'm not that special. I just if there's anything he shares from this, I just hope that you learn to fight through your battles.
Yeah, man. And you are that special. Like I said, this isn't meant to be like, let me go interview celebrities and all that. But it's introducing people that maybe, and like I said, 5-10 people may listen to this, but they got to hear the story of a really cool person.
I hope it helps your day.
Absolutely. All right. Episode 4 in the books.